friends. Hello. May 6th, 2024, Virtual Strangers is back again. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, are my friends, Ruuts and Eric. How's it going, Ruuts?
It's going good, actually. We're close to on time, which is good, right?
Close enough, right?
Yeah, close
still
enough.
Daylight.
It's still daylight. It's still before 10 p.m. in the UK, and that's what matters, right? So,
Absolutely. Still the same day. Usually it's past midnight and we're into the next day.
That's true.
That's true. And Eric, you still have an excuse to take a break from work. It's Monday. You're not, well, you shouldn't be emailing anybody. If you're emailing people during the show, stop right now.
I may or may not have put a message or two out during that process of getting warmed up, but I think we're going to be good to go. There's going to be too much to talk about today to even think about doing any emailing. So this is game of the month, man. The only focus is here.
There is a lot to talk about. For example, Ruuts, did you see Sony has successfully stomached their first taste of PC medicine as they have submitted to the relentless review bombing that Helldivers 2 has been getting on the Steam store. Have you seen that they backed off their requirement? They're not making people do it anymore.
Yeah, it's and I love it how they were like, you know, we didn't understand exactly like this whole place or PC thing. We're still trying to feel it out. Yeah, I think it's actually really good. I think a lot of exposure. I know Asmongold made a video and he's got millions of people, and usually people really, when he puts into something, it gets eyes on it. And I think it really, Sony got crunched and they fucked up, man. The devs have done such a good job with that game and done everything right. And then Sony potentially, I mean, it did take money out of their pocket. And because there's going to be people that will return it regardless of whether they have enjoyed it or not. Right. I think you guys were saying that last night. So, or the other night.
Well, what they did is they fucked around and they found out. And that you can't play with Steam, bro. Like these guys, they take it serious. And if you do anything, it doesn't matter if you deserve it or not. It doesn't matter if you told people up front that they were going to have to do this. They don't want to. And if they don't want to, they're not going to. It would have been different if they had done this, you know, in the beginning and people had to do it to play. But people are done playing now. They're like, fine, I'll just get a fucking refund. Eric, do you think they've kind of screwed themselves now? Because obviously this, you know, having their own client on PC is part of the plan for PC. But now that they've done this and they've come back on it, do you think they're going to be able to come in and say like 3 months with the next game and ask people to do it? Or do you think people are just going to tell them to go fuck themselves now?
It's a great question. I don't know. I mean, probably because they're Sony and they have great games that it won't matter in the end. And this will all kind of fade away, but I don't know. It's definitely hurt. I mean, I don't know. Sony just seems like they're so lost, man, with what they're doing right now. Like, I don't know who the fuck is in charge there, but man, they just don't understand anything. Like, you think that they would be amping up right now. They're about to have their VR headset go and be able to be played, you know, through Steam. They're wanting to launch their own client and have PCVR gaming be a big thing of PlayStation. It seems like they put nothing of any kind of effort into figuring out the culture here. Like, if they didn't realize that the PC master race was going to kick their asses, then they're dumb. Like, who's there going, yeah, this will fly. This is going to be fine. This is going to be no problem. These people live on Reddit. These people live to like rip people apart. Just like you said, most of the time undeservedly. Like, the Steam players are ruthless, man. The PC players are ruthless, even to the point of like unfairly doing it. And then when you do something like this, you're just going to freaking rile them up to the point where like they're going to get so pissed off. But I mean, it's Sony. So in the end, it's going to be about the games and people will go buy them because it's Sony. But yeah, I mean, it's going to leave a bad taste in the mouth for a long time.
I was surprised. I was surprised how fast they backed off of it because they weren't exactly unjustified. They did tell people up front that this was the plan, you know, that you're going to have to register. Now, I get it. There are many people in the world that that live in countries that don't support PSN, but you would think that they would grant those players an exception, right? Like, obviously, if you can't register on PSN, then you wouldn't have to register on PSN. But you know, it is what it is. I thought that they would stick to their guns a little bit more. They folded quickly, which I don't know if I'm happy about that or not. I don't think it sets a very good precedent. Just letting the player base have their way with you so easily and so quickly. But
Well,
you know what
if
kind
there
of
was
repercussions we have.
if there was no legitimate gripe, if they didn't fuck up, if they didn't like, you know what I mean? Regardless, they allowed people to take their money, or they took people's money, and then retroactively said, "Look, you need an account." And not only that, for the people that don't want it, some people can't have it. And then they say, well, those people, fuck you. And like, you know what I mean? Like pretty much by their actions. And then once it got so many eyeballs on them, because they are trying to branch into this PC thing, they had no choice but to back down quick. I think anyway, because it would have, the further this thing went, because this is a really good game. This is a game people really love. It's not just, you know, PAL World where people have played and they've, you know, moved on. People are still playing this game actively and want to continue to play this game. They're still adding to it. The devs are some of the best devs I've ever seen as far as the way they've reacted, the way that they put the community in check when they're trying to get bitchy about, you know, updates and you should be doing this instead of being on Twitter or X. And the devs like, you know, yeah, let me get over the sit over everybody's back and micromanage them and that'll help, right? I feel like the devs have done everything right and Sony kind of fucked it up for them. And they, you know, hopefully Sony foots the bill for the lost revenue and it doesn't come out of the devs' pockets at all because it's not their fault. They didn't have anything to do except for with, all they've done is put out an amazing game.
Well, Mr. Lord Beavis with the 99-cent donation says 100%. So I think he's probably agreeing with you. And Classy Grandma, here for the second week in a row, guys. We've got Classy Grandma in the house. Says, hey, Ruuts, Wes, and what's his name? LOL, whoop, whoop. Now, go back to talking serious shit. That's what we do better than anyone is talk serious shit.
I met Classy Grandma this past weekend.
Did you really?
Oh, did you?
Oh, wow.
I did.
Was she
Oh,
classy?
cool.
She was classy, and she definitely is a grandma. No, it was good, man. We were at this meta event, and she drove like 3 hours to come and hang out and say hi to us. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I got to meet Eric after driving 60 minutes, though.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was
Moon
cool.
Rocks in Denver.
Yeah, Moon Rocks in Denver.
Guys, you guys and your moon rocks, you keep giving me FOMO even after the fact. I can't hear you, AJ. Temporary Game Cat says, love you guys. Said time to play. Oh, you're about to get your name back, eh? Two quid donation. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, everyone. You guys are awesome.
Is there an inside joke there that I don't know about? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know the story behind it. I know that that he's timed out of his name. I guess probably as a joke, but or to go down the Game Cat roll call or whatever on Without Parole. But you can only change every so often. So I think he says 5 more days. He gets to change his name back to time to play.
Nice. That works.
That's rough, man.
Quite a few people in the chat here as we gather on this Monday afternoon. Gustavo Barandas is here. Brandon VR is here. Substatica, Shades of Gray Matter's here. Let's see, Mr. Lord Beavis. Simplex is here. What's up, Simplex? Looper's here. The Game Cat Andrew Ehrenreich is here. Quadzilla's here. Destiny 11A Dizzle is here as well. Paradise Decade's here. Says, I did my part and I review bombed the fuck out of Helldivers and got a refund. I am now happy to say I'm back in the game. And you know who else is back in the game?
My mom. Oh, yeah, she is. Yeah, that's the Helldivers is the one game that if you say you're playing a flat game, Mash will give you a pass. He'll be like, "Oh, I get it. Like, it's
I'll let you do
okay."
that one.
Because Helldivers is amazing, and I really hope the devs out there somehow, some way see this. We really want your game in VR. Contact Flat to VR, and they'll help you get it in there. And
I wish it was in. I think I don't know what engine it's in. It's not in Unreal, unfortunately. I don't know what the engine it's in, but it would be super cool, man, to have that game. And I have. It's weird you say that because I feel like I've been doing nothing but, well, not nothing but I've been feeling like I've been doing a lot of flat gaming lately. Like it's crazy like how much I have to like get into these games now and play them. But it's cool when you can play them flat to check to see how good they were when they were like classics and flat, and then maybe you can inject them too.
Yeah.
To like get a different feel of maybe what it could be like if you can get it to work in VR.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We live in a magical time, that's for sure. Chinatown D is with us, as is Salvador. Chrome Colossus is here. James is here. Carologist 1, the Dreamweaver Gamecat is here. That Dank Cheese is here as well. Who else? Phil Yarn is here. What's up, Phil?
He said Showdown.
Right.
Showdown is amazing. That's what he said when he came into the chat.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Trust me. Ryan B's here. Wu Vane is here. Roy Schwartz is here. GameCat Photo Nutter is here. Je ne sais quoi is here. Techno Glitch is here. Space Denison here as well. VR SpryGuy, of course, and Radio Runt. Fargosoft, 12, the Backlog Gamecat. Gabriel 004, Evan Yabu. El Diego VR is here as well, and that is as far as the scroll bar will go. Any slippies today, like Sanador the Game Tiger and Rogue TR Escape Portal, all present as well. Left Control Gaming is here. Mark Pringlesleaf is here.
We had a slippy super chat from Mr. Lord Beavis for $1. We appreciate you, Beavis.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. We appreciate your support. We appreciate everyone being here. I'm really digging the new schedule, guys. I don't know about you, but it feels right. Like the previous few months, pretty much since we came back this year, I always feel like, I don't know, unprepared or uneasy when we've coming back. Like I'm kind of winging it. But it seems like with this Saturday, Monday schedule, I come in, first of all, well rested, and second of all, well prepared. Like I feel like we're ready to do Game of the Month, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's just that extra time, especially for you guys. Probably Sunday, having that full day to be able to get into stuff, right? It's definitely
well. Nice. That's the cool thing. Like I didn't play any VR yesterday. I didn't have to.
Oh,
like I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've played every game that's on this list this month, but I played every one that I wanted to, every one that I felt like I needed to. So I feel pretty good about it.
I feel the same way, and then a couple I didn't need to go into, but that is what it is. You never know until you get in there. So.
Yeah, and I like this spot too, man. I just like I felt I got comfortable in this Monday thing doing CruCast, so I think it's just a cool spot, especially if CruCast isn't going to be there. And I think a lot of people like listening to that in that Monday, night for Europe, and the Monday afternoon for the North America. I think it's a good spot. I feel comfortable here in this spot. It feels like we've been here for a while.
Having a show on Monday makes Monday something to look forward
to,
which is a bit strange. It makes everyone's Monday suck just a little less.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and it makes me justify having an easy day on Monday. Because the way it works is Saturday is light usually because it's Saturday, and then Monday's light because we're doing the show, and so it's almost like a 3-day weekend. Not really, but.
Staff and stuff. Dan, Kitty VR, Assassin 32 VR, all joining us. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Why don't we go ahead and get into it? April was a bit of a strange month for VR releases. I would say, I'm not going to say it's a light month because we had plenty of games come out this month, but we had a lot of average games come out this month. I would say a lot of good, not great, and then even a couple that aren't even all that good. And what with on that note, let's start with PCVR as we take a look at The Last Safe Place. So this is a game that we discovered early in April as we were just kind of looking at the PC release calendar, and I saw it on Steam. I saw that it had some pretty decent looking graphics. You can tell from the trailer, and that it had a decent enough or interesting kind of story going on. So we thought that we'd give it a look. And I think we reached out to the developer. To be honest, like I remembered that we had this game in our library. I don't remember like asking for it, but I must have because it was in there. So I don't think we bought this, but we'll just go ahead and shout out the developer just in case because I probably asked for a copy of it and just don't remember. Anyway, we decided to check it out, and yeah, just like we thought. Good graphics, check. Interesting story, check. But the problem is the kind of positives stop there because Eric, I mean, there might be a good game here, like you said pre-show. There might be a good game here, but you can't really tell, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst things for devs too. Like they probably put a ton of work, a ton of time, a ton of money into this game, and literally 90% of the people will probably nope out of playing it because it's almost unplayable. And like in today's day and age, like nobody's going to put the kind of time in to go through a broken, janky game to maybe get to where the good stuff is. Like, you know, there's just too many things to play, other things to play. Like, why would you go into a game that's broken that you can't get into? You know, just to maybe get to some good spots. But, you know, if you're 30 minutes into the game and you crash 4 times and you can't get anything to work, and, you know, the options are so limited that, you know, you don't want to do anything. It's unfortunate because from what some of the spots we saw, it sounds like it could be a good game. Like, and it very well maybe you get another half hour in, Ruuts. Maybe you get another half hour in, and it's the best game in the world. But nobody's gonna find that out.
Didn't put enough time in. Yeah,
I'm not gonna either. I won't go back. Like, that's a game where I'll never go back to that game unless they come out and say, man, there's a huge update and everything is fixed. Like, I would never go back to that game again. I would not spend another minute in there wasting my time in a game, because I tell you what, if the developer can't put enough time in to make sure the game is right, why would I put any time into it? Like, I'm paying for it. Why would I put time into your broken game if you don't feel that there's enough of for you to put time in to make it right?
What if they added smooth turn and locomotion?
That would be a
good goddamn start.
That would be a start, right? Because from the
it's
Yeah,
teleport.
go ahead.
Teleport's like, I'm used to snap turn being in games. I'm not used to teleport being in games. I swear I must have triple checked the settings. Like, okay, wait, where's the locomotion? I'm like, there's really no locomotion? I thought, okay, well then this is gonna, like, it better wow me. It better be like really good, because if I got to teleport around, if it's good, I'll look past that. And I don't know, man. Like, I'm like Eric. I wanted to like it, and I didn't even feel like, as I was going down the elevator and everything else, I just was like, I don't know. It just didn't feel right. So
yeah, so I was the same way. I went in, I went straight to the options before I even started the game. I went straight to the options, looking for the locomotion options. There was nothing there. I started the game, found out it was teleport, found out that it was click turning only, and I thought to myself, maybe it'll be good enough that I can just deal with that. It happens all the time that these games launch with teleport and quick turn, and then they get full options a week or two down the line. So I go in, and the game is beautiful. I mean, like, the graphics are really good in the game. The concept here is that you've just joined as an antiquities expert to this archaeological dig. But it's not like a new dig. This is a long discovered, like, ruins of a ancient civilization, and they've got it built up like a museum. People can go around and check things out. There's merchandise booths and places to take pictures, but it's all very good looking and sounding. And so it's your first day on the job. You have to go down through the museum part to get to the place where you go get dressed for work. And then you're making your way down through the museum, and things start to happen. Like the light will leave the room, and this fog will come in, and you'll see ghosts start walking around everywhere. And then the voice actor comes in and kind of gives you some explanation of that, tells you that the ghosts are friendly, not to be scared of them. So it's all very intriguing, right? Like it makes me want to go on and find out more. The problem is that you get on the elevator, you hit the thing to start going down through the levels, and the thing crashes. Like, all right, so you have to start all over again. You come back, you make it a little bit farther, the thing crashes again. And the further that you make it, obviously the more that you have to kind of play through to get back to where you were at. Luckily, teleport's good for that. You can kind of speed through the level quickly because of the teleport. But after having crashed for a couple of times, I finally made it past kind of a wall that I had trouble getting through a couple times already. I pushed into like the main part of the museum, which was beautiful. It was awesome, and you have to kind of make your way up a ladder, like a very indistinct ladder, like an easy to miss ladder. You have to make your way up it and go across the rooftops to kind of get to the dig site. And then there's a rope for you to grab to go back down to the ground. And I grab that rope. It kind of teleports me to the ground. But when I get to the ground, I'm stuck. Right? I can't move anywhere. The teleport thing won't give me any green no matter what I point at. I'm literally just stuck without being able to move. And so I restart the game a third time. And then when I load the save, it puts me all the way back on that first elevator again. And that was at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to play for another 15 minutes to get back to where I was at, only to have it fuck up again and waste my time like that. So I think there's potential here. I mean, from what I see, it looks and sounds very good. The narration wasn't bad. The story is a good concept. But like Eric said, unfortunately, I can't recommend it to people, and I'm not going to waste any more of my time on it.
What's crazy is my only crashing issues was almost my computer when I just went to close it. It was like it locked everything up for a good minute or two, and I thought, oh God, I'm blue screening because I've been having issues with, the 14900K and the motherboard shit. So I thought, oh, I finally fixed that, and I thought maybe it was coming back, but it was just the game hanging up, closing. And Looper was asking why we're even talking about it. We thought we're only going to cover the good stuff. And Mash is right. Well, what he answered in the chat to him, we had decided to go in there and talk about this game because we had this in our thing, and we went in and we played it. So this is what we could decide. We could say, okay, you know what? We're gonna waste the time completely that we already feel like we wasted. But we're not going to give Looper and everybody else a heads up on this game. Or we can go in and we can talk about it and maybe give the devs a heads up. Hey, we want, like Wes said, there's something here, but you got a game you got to fix. And in the interim, save anybody out there that's maybe thinking about buying this right now. I would wait. Don't get it right now. Wait until they are verified they fix this fucking game, because I don't want you to waste your money. That's why, Looper. Because we don't want to be negative. I don't want to be negative about any game. No. But I can't play something like this and then just forget about it and say, oh, that's, like I don't want to trash the game. Well, I don't want to say, I don't want you guys to lose your money more than talking bad about a game. Personally, that's my thought anyway.
So there's a couple of reasons here. And one, you're right, Ruuts. Like, I go into Steam to check this game out, and I can see people in our community that have this game on their wish list, right? And I know that that is because of us. Like these people wishlisted this game because they saw it on our show, and we were putting the spotlight on it. So then now we're kind of have a responsibility, right? Now that we've been in there and spent the time on playing it. Now, I mean, uh, I feel like not only do I have a responsibility um, to the people that are thinking about buying this, but I mean, we did obviously take the key under the pretense that we would cover it, and I'm not sitting here and just saying that it's complete garbage, that it's a that there's nothing here. I'm saying that there absolutely could be something here, but it's going to take work. They need to fix it. It needs to be updated. And those of you who have this game on your wish list, I'm not telling you to take it off. I'm telling you to watch for updates because it's not ready right now. It's a good game that's at an early stage. It seems like a game that just hit early access, but it unfortunately it's not. You know, it's a game for sale on the store.
I also happen to think that number one, there are a lot of developers that watch this show either in the middle of building a game or are
True.
thinking about building a game or, and things like that. And I think if we don't say something, we do them a disjustice too, because there are developers out there that maybe aren't thinking along these lines and they're like, oh shit, maybe my game is only, I have no options in my game either. Or my game is kind of broken. Maybe I shouldn't release it right now. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that watch this show, live and afterwards. So, I think it's important that we bring up these things. And we didn't come in here and say this is the worst game in the world. We came in and said we can't. Well, this might be a great game, but we can't physically go in and play it. And I think that's an important distinction of this is what we're doing. So, I think it's definitely something that we should have said, and I'm glad we said it.
Absolutely. Could you guys even get up a menu from the gameplay? Like there's a menu, like an options menu when you're going into the title screen. But after
Mm-hmm.
I got into the game, I
None.
couldn't like bring up a pause menu at all.
None.
Like,
Zero. This is like I was turning
yeah.
my hands over looking for a watch, looking, usually sometimes it's not a button press, it's like a menu on your hand or your wrist or like a tablet you grab off your body. I'm reaching all over myself trying to like grab like a tablet or something. Like there's no direction in any way. And like with the crashes with you guys, like I even turned it down. Like it was set on it was on ultra for me automatically. So the third time I crashed, I said, I don't know, maybe it's my rig. I mean, I'll turn this thing way down. I turned it down to like as low as I could get it to go, and it still crashed. I mean, so it's I don't even think it's the setting. I don't even know what it is. It's just a completely broken part of the game.
The fact that we both crashed on that elevator ride tells me that there's a problem when it's loading the level, because that is a loading screen, right? The elevator kind of has this generic loading mechanism set there, so you can tell when it's trying to load the next part of the level that it's hitching on something there, but God only knows what. Paradise Decay in the chat says, does Impact Realities help devs to iron out such bugs and issues? We absolutely do. That is one of many services that we offer our clients. I mean, we've got services where we'll personally go in and audit a game. And, if there are bugs, obviously we'll point that out. But even if there aren't bugs, and a game is kind of lacking in one department or another, we'll put together a report and say, hey, here's some ideas for ways to make your game better. Beyond all of that, we've got Impact Labs, which is an army of fucking playtesters that we'll put, dozens and dozens of playtesters on a game for a developer, and then when they come out, they answer a questionnaire, and we give that feedback to devs. So thanks for the question, PD. We absolutely have stuff that we offer our clients to help them get their game to a state that it should be in before.
Right.
It,
That's
comes
the
on
key,
Steam.
right? Before,
Yeah.
you get one shot for the release, and so that's why it's important for a company like Impact to help with those iron those things out before it gets released. So
Yeah. So again, I don't want to harp on it too much. So you know, the message here with this is, it's not that we got in and played it and that it was a bad game. It was just that we got in and we couldn't really play it. It was too buggy. I mean, I'd love to just sit here and hammer it for the teleport and click turn being forced. Like if it hadn't been so janky and crashing, like that would probably be something we were hopping on more. But but the fact that you can't even play it that way is really the biggest problem with it. Redder says just another horror game. It kind of did have that vibe to it. I mean, it wasn't. It seemed like it was kind of going that way, didn't it, guys? Like it hadn't gotten scary yet, but it seemed like it could.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it had
definitely weird. You know, the vibe, right?
Yeah, it definitely had a creepy vibe to it. I thought when I first got into it, like I'm like, wow, this could be pretty good. It seems like it might be good, but you know, after all the stuff that happened, it was just too hard to even think about it. But yeah, I thought it had a cool vibe to it, and again, the visuals look good. Like it's a PC game. Like you can, some of the visuals are really, I don't know, some of the dark scenes, like when you transition from into the before the room lights up, you said a ton of shadowing, like that's weird, and like a little bit of reprojection, that's weird. But I mean, I think the visuals were pretty good. Like that's what I mean. I think there's a lot there.
Yeah.
It's disappointing that we can't even get to see it. Like because the dev obviously put some time into this.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked really good. It's another one of these games that, you know, kind of games like this, jank aside, are kind of the reason to pay attention to Steam, because Steam, even in its lowest point, still gets some solid indie games from indie devs that don't have all the marketing behind it, and a lot of people don't know about them. You kind of have to find them, but there are hidden gems on Steam. You know, and the underlying things that kind of makes these games are good production, right? You have all of this unlimited power in your PC, and many of these indie games take advantage of that. But you got to know which ones run and which ones don't, right?
It really reminds me of remember that game that was like by the ocean, that was like a puzzle game that was just super janky?
I was
What was the name
thinking
of that
that.
one?
I was thinking the same thing, honestly, when I was playing this. This reminds me of it was Atlantis something,
Right.
wasn't
I was
it?
gonna say like it was
Yeah.
a Olympia theme or something. Olympus, right?
Yeah.
I mean that one was like at least better than this one. This one's almost unplayable. That one at least was somewhat playable. But yeah, just you kind of got that feel like, oh man, oh no.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to crap on this one anymore. I think we've done enough of it. But let's move on to another Steam VR gem. Black Trail came out this month. This one, with a team of developers behind it that did take their time to give us a pretty fun arcade style, story driven Western game. Roots for a change. We don't have enough of these games that are set in this mid 1800s America, do we?
No, we don't have almost any. You know, unless it's modded. So yeah, and this was kind of an intriguing story. I think the story was the coolest part about this thing. Which I guess it kind of, you know, considering the gameplay is kind of put there to get you through the story. You know, it's a good thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
There's Eric, a bit of an interesting structure here for an arcade style game, right? Like, they have you jumping back and forth between playing the role of the cowboy, or you could be the bandit / Indian. But it's a one cohesive story that they let you experience from both sides, which is strange enough for any kind of game, but typically, for an arcade style game, they don't even really pay all that much attention to the story. So it's a bit of a different game.
It is. This is a super cool game. It's got a ton of good premise to it. You know, I like the idea of switching back and forth. Absolutely. I mean, we don't have enough of these types of like Western themed games in virtual reality, so it was an interesting kind of like feel to it, especially playing from the Indian side, which I think is cool. Like, I think it's almost a disservice to make it put the bandit in there. Oh, I think it's cool to play as an Indian, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So I mean, I think it's weird to have the bandit in there, but I guess nowadays you have to have options like that. But
Yeah.
I think if they're gonna do bandit and Indian, they should have done cowboy / savage, because you know what I mean? I kind of even it out because I do think that there was very bad aspects of cowboys as well running around doing some shit.
We should have gone back and played with the bandits. I don't think any one of us actually toggled it over to see what the bandits look like. I would have been interested to see what the model of the bandit and how that would affect the story. I mean, the story is a very clear cowboys and Indians story. So, yeah, I don't know. The bandits would probably just be other, I don't know, less savory white dudes or something.
Worse cowboys.
It'd be people that look back like they went back in time from COVID with their bandanas all over their face. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hussein X joining us in chat. What's up, friend? But no, this was a solid title, and again, like I was describing a moment ago, another one of those Steam VR indie titles that not too many people know about, but these games absolutely still exist. Steam is a favorite place for smaller indie devs because obviously you have a good amount of resources that you can work with in terms of people's PCs typically perform better than a console would. And not only that, but Steam VR will publish anything, or Steam will publish anything. There's not a big lengthy QA process that you have to go through to publish on Steam. So Steam turns out to be a haven for many of these games. And, with the last safe place and games like that, sometimes they're not all that great, or maybe they're too janky. But then in the case of a game like Black Trail, sometimes you can find a game that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know how this ends. I want to know, I still feel like the sheriff was a fool. And I like the supernatural aspect of it, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of made it cool. The time manipulation and stuff that they had going on in here, and the way that the moral ambiguity that they've worked into the story and having you see it from both sides. Pretty cool. I could probably get through this in one more session. I probably will one day, actually. I played through over half of it when we talked about it on the show. I don't know, though, man. Like, I feel like things are skewed for me now because coming off of Madison, which was like literally the best thing that I've played this year, it's going to take something really, really good to kind of keep me impressed. It kind of has that Asgard's effect going on right now, I feel like.
Agreed, 100%.
Prime example, our next nominee, Big Shots. Big Shots came out this past month for all major VR platforms. This is a roguelike shooter in a mech. And Eric, this was an interesting one, man, because like I can't really say much bad about it. But I felt like it was very middle of the road. Like it was polished, right? It had a decent roguelike loop with good progression. I mean, it had everything that you really would ask for in this type of game. But at the same time, I don't feel like it really did anything different or new other than put you in the mech, which, as we spoke about before, wasn't really, it didn't add to the game. It kind of took away a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think like this is my jam, man. Everybody knows I like roguelites. It's one of my favorite genres of games, and this is a roguelite. And I think what's around it is really good as a roguelite. I think it would be cool. I think the visuals are cool. I think this is absolutely killed by being inside a mech because that's the only thing that killed it for me. I think it's frustrating. I think it's claustrophobic. I don't think it works as well. And normally I kind of like mechs too. Like there are mech games out there like Vox that I really like. But in this type of like run and gun and like you have to be quick and it's hard kind of thing, when it limits your view to the point where it makes the game not fun, that's what hurts it here for me. Like I think it's a good game that if I could just get out of the mech, I think I'd probably have a lot more fun with it. It's just unfortunate that the mech part kind of ruins it.
Yeah, it's interesting, Roots. We got PD in the chat saying that he enjoyed this game, and this I'm seeing a lot of this. Like it's a divisive game. Nobody feels strongly about it one way or the other, but I am seeing a lot of people that like it, and that absolutely does not surprise me. Like this is a polished roguelike shooter, isn't it?
Yes, I think this is. I think I'm kind of more agree with PD than I would with Mash in a sense that I actually really, out of all the games that are on here, I enjoyed this one probably. I wouldn't say the most, but pretty close to the most. I actually came away thinking that was pretty cool. I feel like it's one of those games that if the more you put time into it, the better it gets. And I think the more I've been thinking about it, I think that limited view, cockpit view, it could be, even though it kind of creates a claustrophobic thing, it's part of the challenge. Like this game is actually very difficult. It's not an easy game. Like the gameplay, once you get good, and especially, like it's really designed to be, I don't know how often you guys use the the boost that throws you up in the air. It's designed to be moving a lot and jumping up and going from ledge to ledge and back down, and I didn't do that enough. I feel like this game gets better as we play it, but
Yeah,
that's probably why
uh,
people are saying that they liked it. They probably played it a little bit more.
I like the boost feature on it, all right, but I felt like the kind of arenas that they stick you in are kind of too small to really fully use a feature like that. Um, the first arena that they put you in is absolutely too small to use it. Like it's a tiny little thing in terms of the amount of space that you can move around. The other one, like the next one, it had some more space and it had some ramps and things, so you could use it a little bit more freely in there. But even that, I still found very limiting. Um, and I think it's that's just one of a few reasons why this game really didn't appeal to me. I'm not a big fan of arena style games anyway. I would rather play a rail shooter than play an arena shooter, to be honest, because at least then the surroundings are changing instead of just kind of keeping you in this one little area in this one hole. Um, I don't know. It's a good, solid, polished game. Um, I gave it a go. It didn't really hook me, but like I said before, like it's polished and well done enough. It's a good looking game. It plays well. I can certainly see why fans of this like roguelike genre would enjoy this.
I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing that isn't working for it is the fact that it's arena based, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like if you were, we've said this before, if you're going through levels and progressing through like a complex or something, this could be really cool. But as it is, it's cool and for this type of game. But and maybe the levels get more elaborate, and I don't know how far PD went into it, or if he, if there's way more elaborate levels. But
I mean, I've actually played this
Yeah.
game quite a bit. I've been playing it for like 2 years because I tested it on Gamescom 2 years ago. And then and then I had access to it for a long time. The newest version, leading up on all platforms. And I think it's a good roguelite. And just for me, I don't like the mech. That's the only thing. Like if you don't mind the mech, I'd recommend this game all day because I think the roguelite part of it is good. It's got good gameplay hook. The visuals are good. The weapons are cool. It's just literally the mech for me. Like I want my roguelites to be fast, and to me, the mech gets in the way of a good game here. But that's just me. Like if you don't mind that part of it, I think it's a great game. It can be a lot of fun.
Escape Portal in the chat says, I'm a little behind, but I think the best part of Big Shots is the fact that you're in a mech. It's a decent game, but it would be super average if you weren't in a mech. That's my opinion. See, again, very divisive here because I kind of agree with you, Eric. Like, I think the mech slows you down. Obviously, it limits your field of view, which makes it very difficult to see enemies that are very close to you. Um, and then, like, the advantages of being in a mech really, or at least at the beginning part of the game, aren't there. Like uh, all of the weapons and things that you attach to your mech are things that I've had in other games, just holding them in my human hands. And like when you're fighting these bug things, and when they get in your immediate vicinity, if you're in this big strong mech, you should be able to take your mech arms and smash the shit out of them and kill them. Can't do that here. So literally, the mech just feels like something that they added in here just so they could say, "Hey, look, you're in this cool mech." Uh, but for me, it doesn't really add anything to the game. It only kind of detracts from the experience. I would much rather be, outside of a mech, dashing around, and fighting these guys by hand, than just lumbering around in this big mech and unable to move the way that I want to. Just my thought. Anyway, again, a lot of people like it. I didn't think it was like bad or anything. It could have been better, right? It was very, like I said at the top, a lot of very average games this month, and I feel like this is one of those, 7 out of 10 games for me. Moving on to Soul Covenant. This is another game that came out for all major VR platforms this month. And this one a bit different than other games that we've played in the past. This is one of those heavily story driven anime games. Super high production value here, top notch graphics, top notch sound, but a bit of a weird structure, I would say here, Eric, with the way that they got this thing cut up to like short story segments and then short gameplay segments and then even more story on top of that. I don't know. I found it to be a bit of a weird choice here with this one. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I didn't. To be fair with this one, I didn't put a ton of time into it. I went into just kind of see what it looks like, and I think it is a little. The gameplay is a little weird with this game. I think it has a lot to offer story wise, and if you like a JRPG, I think this could be cool. Or and I think there's a lot of story here. But just quickly from what I saw, and I don't know if it gets better as it gets farther in, but I don't know. Did the combat feel super like lightweight and like I don't know. It just felt like nothing had weight to it. It felt like it was just very simple, straightforward. But again, it may open up later on. But I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't want these melee games to not have, like when I hit something melee wise, I want it to feel like it is hitting the object and not just passing through it.
You don't want to be able to do this? Because that's what I was doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like that whole, anytime you hit something and you just pass straight through it, it's Happy Funland all over again with the combat here. And like in a game like this, I think because I think it revolves so much around story and the kind of the art style and the coolness of it, but the gameplay has to feel good. Otherwise, it's gonna hurt that part of it, just like with Happy Funland. So I think, like everything is here except for that one little small part that just leaves me a little bit like, okay, I wish that was there. But everything else, I don't know, if it seemed highly polished to me.
Yeah, I certainly could feel that. Like the weapons, like physically didn't have any weight to them. It felt like you were using paper weapons, right? And I get why, kind of, because it is like the gameplay sections are meant to be like arcade style, like hack and slash. The type of games that if you were playing on a flat screen, you would see like literal like whoosh animations when you're like tapping your buttons, but that doesn't necessarily always work in VR. Right, Ruuts?
Yeah, no, it doesn't always work in VR, and unfortunately, my thing. So did you guys notice that there was so I think this also had snap turn, right? And I put on smooth turn, and as soon as I did, every time I did, I saw reprojection on my sword whenever I turned with the controller, like it was multiples moving. And I don't know if the guys had that issue or not, but
yeah, I didn't have it, but I think you played on Steam and I played on PlayStation VR.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I played it on Steam, and on the Steam version, there's reprojection when you smooth turn. My problem is with what Mash was saying about the great story, or I guess you alluded to it as well, because the pacing is the way it is, I just wanted to fucking skip it. I can't tell you, I seriously, skip button, skip. I don't like the way it was laid out at all, and it annoyed me more than anything. Like, I went in, because it looks so good, the story was somewhat intriguing. I'm not big into anime, but because of the way it was structured, by the time that I was done, I just wanted to be done with it. And it's probably one of my least favorite games I've played on the lists. I just didn't enjoy it. And so it's not that there's not gameplay there. I'm not into melee to begin with. You got to dash. You can, you're constantly moving around. You got things that you stack up as to build up a laser beam. And like, I went through quite a bit of the game. You know what I mean? I just didn't like the structure at all. I think it really killed it. Because at least for someone like me that doesn't want to sit through areas like that and feel like I'm held hostage, that's how I felt. I felt like I was held hostage through having to sit through something. And then I realized I don't have to. And then it was on. Then it was like, okay, all of this amazing story that Mash was just talking about might as well have been not fucking there, because it was gone. It was clicked away, and I could not help myself because I didn't want to sit through and watch it. So something's there. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I feel like the structure of the campaign and the way that they put it together is the weakness of the game. Like, I agree with what Mash is saying about the combat being a little bit light and not really feeling impactful. But I did find it pretty fun to play. I think that the progression system that they have worked out here is pretty awesome, and the story's great. The visuals are really good, the sound's really good, but the structure and the way that they put it all together is just choppy, and it doesn't feel like a cohesive like campaign, which is weird for a story-driven game, right? The fact that you're taking it in these little bite-sized pieces, it seems very disjointed, and especially in a VR game where you're just desperately trying to fall into a comfortable groove with it, and the game never quite lets you get there. With that said, I mean, this is one of the better games that I feel like I've played this month. The production level is super high in it, and I really enjoyed the fucking massive, like, the boss enemies in this game are fucking enormous, and they're highly detailed and intimidating. And the environments look great, even though this one is, again, kind of like, I mean, it isn't exactly an arena, but you're moving from area to area to area in it. So obviously the maps could be a bit more expansive, but I did have fun with this game. I thought it was all right. Slightly above average, but not a great game. It was good, not great.
What's the cost on it? Subtastica says now talk about the cost. That makes me think it's expensive.
Yeah, I think this is like a $50 game.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It feels, I don't know though, like if it wasn't for the combat though, I would almost feel like it does have a AAA feel to it, except for the combat. Like, I think that's where it lacks. Because I get what you're saying, Ruuts, but if you're a fan of that anime style JRPG kind of thing, the story I think is here for that, and I think the visuals are really cool, and it does have it's pretty deep, the story. So I think if it only had good combat, I think now $50 is a little high.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think $40 or $39.99, I would pay that. If it had, think about it, if it had really good combat, and you were like, man, this just feels good, it feels right, and then you put all the other high end, everything that's with it, I think it would be there. It's just
Looper says you're only moving the last level of each chapter, and it's always the same. And I'm gonna go grab a cup of coffee while you guys discuss that.
Yeah, he's basically making the case for this being pretty much an arena, and yeah, like I said, you pretty much are. And he said that you're moving in the last level of each chapter. Like, what's a chapter? What's a level? Like, I couldn't tell the difference in this thing, right? Because it was all like 5 minutes at a time fed to me. So I didn't know when I was moving from level to level or chapter to chapter. It's everything kind of felt like it was its own little section, and that there's just dozens of them, and 2 times as many of them were story sections as gameplay sections,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, literally, if those gameplay sections were good, and it felt compelling for you to do it, and that gave you, I don't know, some progression, or maybe I know the weapon system is very cool. The whole idea of your fallen comrades or fallen friends turn into your weapons. I think it's cool. Like, I just wish the combat was better. Like, it's like combat was thought of probably like in 10% of the game and like 80 or 90% story, and it needed to be like closer to 50-50 or at least 70-30. You know what I mean?
You think that's the reason why they broke it up the way they did? Like if they had a long, cohesive 20 to 30 minute gameplay segment, do you think that like maybe they broke it up because they didn't want people to see how it being repetitive and get bored with it?
It's possible. Yeah, I mean, because it's close. Like it literally is. Like and I'm not into those kind of things, but I like the anime JRPGs. I don't know if you are either, Wes. Like I didn't really grow up playing. I know some of those games that I did try them, but it wasn't like what it was for me. But if you can think of some of those classic games and you're a fan of that style of game, if they had really good gameplay here, I mean, I think this would be a win for a lot of people. It's just that short.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man, because like you said, it's really polished. It's high production level. The story's freaking cool. Where you're kind of playing as a clone, but your clone gets uploaded with the memories of the last person. So it's almost like you're immortal. Like you get a new body on every playthrough, and the story kind of explains that away for all of your team. And the idea is that when someone falls, you collect their bones, and they live on through the weapons that you use. Like their bones become your weapon, and you're able to kind of converse with them and their spirit through the kind of uploading of your consciousness into your clone. It's a really forward-thinking story and something that is really well thought out and detailed, and that's why it's kind of unfortunate. Like third verse, it seems like they always almost nail it.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
They did with X8 too, right? Like X8 was so close; it could have been awesome, and it just fell short.
I thought for sure you were going to say that you collect the people's bones and turn it into Kush, but that's what's going on in South Africa right now.
Wait a minute, hold on. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't want to do that?
You know what's funny is Shades of Grey Matter said something that it's just right. Like you can get Madison for $20. Like
right.
You know what I mean? And that's the problem now is you play Madison, which is just a freaking flawless game all the way through with every aspect of the gameplay. That everything's going to be compared to it now. Like this is $50. Madison's is it $19.99 for Madison? I thought it was more.
No, it's $30. It's $30.
Okay, so yeah, well, but even so they're saying 20. I think he's saying $20 less, but that's what it is. $20 less. You get you get Madison, which is just a complete game, and this is just not complete.
You can pretty much almost get that Madison and Showdown for the same price. They're pretty close, right? So it's like the two best games that have came out in the last month.
Yeah. Looper says that the death scenes are the best part of the game, especially with the headset haptics, and I will second that. Like the death scenes can be pretty brutal in this game. The kind of way that they depict you experiencing your own death, they really don't pull punches with it. So that part at least was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, $50 is too much.
Wait for a sale for sure. If you're, I mean, unless you're really big into anime, and it's not that the combat was completely garbage. It's just like I agree with Eric. It's just not satisfying. Like when for Melee, you just needed it to be a little bit more. Feel like you're really. I just felt like I just got up close, put my shield on, and trying to collect as many of those shards, like it was just I was able to cheese it. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So. Right. Yeah, agreed.
Roy
Roy. Yeah, no, right. No, it's right over there, nicely out of the way. But thank you for checking in on that, Roy. Gamertag VR. Jumping in to say hello. What's up, GT? Good to see you, friend.
What's up, dude? Miss you, man.
Head bites here.
Yeah, we used to get to see him every single day or every Monday. Right?
I know. I'm gonna move into his house, sleep on his couch.
I think that's a good idea.
I think you should.
We're on our way.
I'm gonna go see. I think I might see him next month. I think I'm gonna be in. I'm gonna be in UK. I'm gonna be in the UK next month in June. GT, for an event. Maybe I think you might be going too. I don't know. I might see him next month.
Crazy.
Nice.
What's crazy is I can't imagine the life of of jet setting, jumping on a plane with in 2024, you know, where it's like your flight might take off, it might not, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you might be sitting for 7 hours on the tarmac. The flying industry has done everything to convince me to never fly again unless I have to fly. I love flying. I just don't, they've made it such a pain in the ass that I just don't want to fly. So
You better watch out, man. If Boeing hears you say that.
oh yeah, that's true. That's right. I
Curtains.
might end up in as long as I'm not a whistleblower, I'll be okay. I do have some evidence though. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Now you're in trouble.
So as we move down the PCVR list here, we've got a bunch of yeah buts, right? Like a bunch of games that could have been good, but you know, it has this thing wrong. Like Last Safe Place is janky and crashes. Black Trail is kind of arcadey and disjointed. Big Shots is something that we've seen 100 times before. Soul Covenant has less than satisfying weapon physics, and the game is very disjointed in the way they put the campaign together. Did anything good launch on PC this month? Well, I mean, we did just talk about FOREWARNED yesterday, and you know, my initial thoughts when we started to go into this, Eric, was that this was just going to be a pretty cheap clone of Phasmophobia, but it actually turned out to be quite a bit more than that, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, man. Like, this game caught me off guard. I literally thought this was a different game than it was. And when I get in there to check everything out, and I spend some time in there, I'm like, because I hate Phasmophobia, to be honest with you, and I hate it because I just never had a good experience in there. But I actually kind of like this game, and I like it's wrapped around, you know, the Egyptology, and you're like in a whole different environment, and there seems to be a ton of depth and gameplay to it, and like you can level up to. I told you guys I saw somebody in there who was level 50. I don't know where the cap is, but this person was level 50. So it seems like it's super deep, and you can open up a ton of stuff. And I was a little bit shocked by this game.
Yeah, Roots, I gotta say, I was pretty impressed with it because there is no question that this started off as a Phasmophobia reskin with kind of Egypt being pulled over it. But having gone into the full version of it just a few days ago, like there's really a lot going on with this game. And that Phasmophobia kind of gameplay loop is just the foundation that so much more has been built upon.
Yeah, this game, it's kind of think of it like Caillou VR, like I said about it. You know, they went out in there with a Minecraft like type of game, and then they made it their own and made it way better than Minecraft ever was. That's kind of how I feel about this. Phasmophobia, I'm like MASH. I think it's trash. And I think it's trash just because everybody raved about how awesome it was, and then every time I tried to go in there, it was just not that good. This is everything that I wanted Phasmophobia to be. And it's like, there's just so much to it, and they just keep adding to it. This is like not only the new release, but this is the new levels expansion, right? Or whatever you want to call it. And that blew me more away. Just the booby traps. You know, you go into Phasmophobia and it's a haunted house. It's the same fucking setup, man. Like, this is, you're dropping down in an elevator and all sorts of shit. So I think that this is super cool, very well produced. The production values in this were really good. And even though it's not my type of a game, I actually kind of felt a little creeped out in there when I was in there. And because I went in there by myself, and I thought it was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't catch our last episode on Saturday, this is a game that puts you into exploring ancient ruins and tombs to try to figure out through gathering evidence what kind of spirit or which spirit is haunting the tomb. Again, very similar to what you're doing in Phasmophobia. Same kind of tools at your disposal, be it like night vision or like a seismometer or a Geiger counter. All of the same things that you do when you're ghost hunting, right? The difference being where Phasmophobia puts you and up to 3 friends into these small, like areas, like a small house or like a jail cell or something like that. Forewarned puts you in these giant, expansive underground complexes, and you have to find your way through it. But it isn't just about going in there and gathering evidence. There's treasure to find. There's puzzles in there. There's all sorts of things that you can do to kind of help level your character up and unlock new items and abilities. After you do successfully gather enough evidence to determine what spirit haunts these tombs, these labyrinths, you find the room where their sarcophagus is, and you open it up. And then when you open the sarcophagus, you find the relic that's inside. Then the game changes drastically, because now it's about escaping with your life. Whereas, in Phasmophobia, there is a little bit of danger trying to get out in certain scenarios. In Forewarned, as soon as you grab that relic, the spirit takes physical form, and you have all sorts of things that are trying to attack you. Giant snakes and spiders. There are apparitions flying around. There are mummies. All of this stuff coming at you, trying to kill you in a tomb that is already full of traps. Like blades coming out, and darts shooting out of the wall, quicksand on the floor. There's a lot more danger in this game. So, Eric, this is a bit more of just a kind of play on people who are afraid of ghosts. This is a much more intense experience where the game is literally trying to kill you.
Yeah, it's super cool. There's so much going on here with this one. Like, me and you got a chance to go in there and play a little multiplayer with it, and everything that you just mentioned, and then being able to like come back once you die as as a friend mummy to kind of like help your team, or come back as an evil mummy and try and like kill the remaining party that you have that's left over, that's still alive. Or come back. You actually get one chance where you can just come back as yourself and join the party again. So I think they added a ton of stuff here to this that makes it super cool to play, and the visuals are great. Like the torch effects that you see with the flame. Using the flashlight in the dark spots. Nothing better than a flashlight in a dark game in PCVR. It just makes everything look so good. And then the gameplay is great, man. I mean, there's some, again, it's not perfect. There's some janky stuff here or there, but it's just, there's so much depth here with the different things that you can use, and like trying to figure out what spirits you're working against. And you mentioned that, opening the whole idea is not just figuring out who it is either. Like you said, getting to that final room and then grabbing that idol, and then trying to get back out again. It's almost like a race at that point. It's like you become not a ghost hunter at that point. Then you're kind of like, then you're almost like Indiana Jones racing out of the temple, or trying to get away from the evil spirits that are gonna be chasing you. Then it's like a different thing. Like you said, getting through quicksand, getting past spears shooting out of the walls, or darts shooting out of the walls, or axes, like swinging axes trying to kill you. There's just a lot here to this game, and I wish they would bring this, if they could bring it to Quest, because you'd have a ton of, I mean, there's a lot of players playing this flat and VR on Steam, but I'd love to see a lot of people playing on the Quest. I think it would be cool.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because with the underlying progression system that they've built, like that last level that we played through, after we got the relic, we were given a choice, right? We could either try to escape with it, or we found a note that said there's this passage that goes down to even lower levels.
Mm-hmm.
And after you've got the relic, you can visit those lower levels and try to kind of do some kind of ritual to release the spirit. It was a gamble, right? Because obviously if you die, you don't make it out. But if you can successfully get down there and do the ritual and then leave, then you get all this extra treasure and all the extra XP. So really, they have fleshed this out to a full-fledged PC game, and I was just thoroughly impressed with it. I thought it was very good, and much more than I was expecting it to be.
Same.
All right, so putting a game like this up against the previous nominees for PCVR this month, you would think that it's kind of a no-brainer that we've got a clear winner,
Hands
but
down.
not so fast. Not so fast, friends, because this month also brought us Contractors Showdown on PCVR. This is the newest VR battle royale that takes a genre that was already pretty popular in VR through its previous iterations and brings a more realistic turn to it. We've had other battle royale games in VR before, Ruuts, but those have all kind of been cartoony or more I would say less serious, whether we're talking about Rec Royale or Pop One, which is a very clear Fortnite clone. This is a more serious game for a more serious gamer and something that's clearly modeled off of Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah, this is more of a military sim type of battle royale type of, it's the best that I've played. I love Pop One. I love Pop One for a lot of reasons. But, realistically, and I guess there's, I love doing things in VR that I can't do in real life, but climbing wall, everything, and flying and all this stuff, this just has more of a real life feel, right? And I'll tell you what, at least the games that we played, there's a lot of sweaty fucking people in here. There's a lot of people in there that are taking it very seriously, and they're like actually using military strat and flanking us from 3 different directions. And then us yokels going in there, and we're just like, well, I don't even know what we're doing. And then all of a sudden we're surrounded. It's frustrating in that respect because everybody's so good, but I never felt frustrated. You know what I mean? I just had fun. And I think that's a sign of a good game. It's like you want to have it. It should be fun. It should be, have a lot of aspects to it. But, I'm not playing to be frustrated. You know what I mean? And so we didn't even come close to ever winning either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's very, very done very well. And is this they're still working on this, right? This isn't 100% done. Or is it something that they've considered being finished?
Well, it's not early access, but I would be surprised, Eric, if the team there behind Contractors is the same team that did Contractors, don't continually work to improve this, as that's what they did with their original game, right?
Yeah, the games like this are never quite done, right? Like they've already had, like they're always going to do extra things. They'll have special weekends. They'll do special events. Like they already just this past weekend was a double XP weekend, just like you would see in a flat game. Like Call of Duty has these all the time for Warzone or for just regular Call of Duty. You can get those XP weekends where you get double, if you play, you get double XP, and those are the things you need to kind of like level yourself up faster. So they're going to have events like that. I think they'll add assets. I think you'll see different maps at some point. Like this is a great game for Contractors because this is a perpetual game. These games don't ever end. Like look at Pop One. Pop One is still popular. I know it's free, but it's still popular because they still add stuff to it. They have something new coming soon, and they're still putting stuff out. But this is a perpetual game. This is a game that you'll have. They could end up doing like battle passes, which they probably will. You'll have unlockables. You'll have different maps. You'll have different. Maybe they do a weekend where you can do, solo. Battle royale. I don't think they should do it all the time, but I think it's good to have a weekend or a week where you do solo battle royale as an option, to kind of like keep things fresh and keep people wanting to come in. So Caveman's a great studio. This is something that they can continue to work on and continue to have different things, new operators, new weapons. I mean, just like Call of Duty, man. This is just like Warzone. This is something that they can do for a long, long time, and I don't think there's a question of which is game of the month.
Philozix in the chat says there is a learning curve, but it won't take long to learn. And there absolutely is a learning curve. There's a lot to this game, and Ruuts. I mean, you're someone who goes on more and more recently about how VR games just don't have enough substance to them. That VR games should be something more on par with traditional video games in terms of what they have to offer. I think Contractors Showdown is a great example of exactly the type of progression that we should be seeing in more VR games, because there is a lot to this game in terms of features, in terms of progression. There's just a lot of detail that's been put into this, so much so that we still haven't quite figured out all of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this is a very positive sign for VR. I mean, Contractors was an amazing game in general. The original Contractors, it was that and Pavlov to me were the OG, the best ones, right? And then Alvo came along. And then the battle royales, you had Standout, and then Pop One came along, and Pop One was good. Actually, I spent a lot of time in Pop One, but I think this is better than Pop One. Pop One has a lot of good aspects, but there's not really any progression. Like there's just not. This actually has progression. Actually has things that you can. I just like the aspect that I can have a gun and I can find a scope, and my gun now becomes better. That's really cool. Like you don't even see that in a lot of flat games for battle royales, right? You get your gun, it is what it is. So I think
Right.
that I agree. I think this is definitely the right direction, and I would put it up there with a flat game as far as gameplay for sure.
It's really well balanced. Like so the structure of the battle royale game incentivizes you to. I mean, if you're going to just purely work on strategy, the idea would be to get a weapon, find a good high point that you can defend, and let the wall push people into you. But Eric, what I really like about the way that they've got this thing set up here is they incentivize you not to camp, right? Like if you want to progress outside of the run, you have to constantly be exploring the map, looking for those chips, looking for things that you can use to upgrade your character after the match is over. So while yeah, you might be able to rack up more W's if you grab a gun, take a high point in the center of the map and wait, um, you're going to you're going to find yourself quickly falling behind everyone else if you don't get out there and explore the map and progress your character. It really is a cool kind of juxtaposition that they put you in.
It is, and you got to move as a team, which is great. Like, so you have to move. You can't stay in one place because number one, you come in with nothing, and if you don't explore, you're gonna get no weapons. And it's not even just okay. Hey, I found a weapon, but did you find a weapon that's got a scope, or did you find a weapon that's got a sight on it? Did you find a weapon that's got an extended mag? Did you find a chip, or did you find one of the perks that you need so you can call in an airstrike? Did you go? You got to find those things. Did you get any money? Have you got any money so you can buy back a teammate if they die? Can you get any money so you can upgrade your weapons and buy a certain weapon that you want? Those are the things that you need because you're not going to win if you don't have those things. Like you could even just camp somewhere with a shotgun, but you are not going to win if you get down to 3 or 4 teams and then they have all good weapons and better weapons and better armor.
You got your shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, because you have plates that have armor plates that you have to collect. There's so many things that you have to do, that you have to move, and then you have to move as a team. So we got caught in this too. Like this game more than any, if you don't move as a team, and you have to loot together and you have to share loot, because if you don't move as a team, it's too easy to get picked off. And then once you're down to 2 or 1 person, these other teams that move as a team are going to just destroy you, and you have to let go. And you can't just kind of go loot on your own. Maybe you can early on within the first few minutes because everybody's kind of all over the place, but literally after that, you have to move as a team. So there's a lot of communication involved. There's a lot of thought put into this game, and battle royals in general. That's how you have to do them. And just the visuals. This is a whole package. It's just really good. I mean, if you like this type of game, this is perfect for you. I would love for every Warzone player to just get a look, especially ones who've never tried virtual reality before, get a look about what it feels like to really aim down sight, to really be able to turn your head and feel what it's like. There's no way that you would ever want to play Warzone again flat if you could play a game like this.
Unless you're really good and you're not the man.
Screw those guys.
You're gonna want to win. But I don't know, man. I definitely, I'm trying to sit here looking at it, trying to think of any jank too. I can't think of any jank that existed as far as gameplay wise. Everything just worked really well as well. and that matters to me in a game of the month contender for sure.
I had a little bit of weirdness getting like the storefront to pop up at the little machine things, but it wasn't like constant. It was just a couple times that didn't really work the way it was supposed to. But for the most part, you're right. It was kind of a flawless experience. Really good. Do you remember the VR Warzone, Eric? We kept talking about Warzone, like Call of Duty Warzone. Do you remember the VR
from our
Warzone?
friends? Yeah, I do remember the VR Warzone from our friends. Yeah, for sure. You think there was a few people who bought that one and didn't weren't too happy when they bought it?
Well, the funny thing is that the reason why the PC version of that, the reason why it gained any notoriety was because it had so many players that it was advertising. It was something like 64 players or something that you could have in a match, and then they ended up going to other platforms that didn't support that, but they didn't kind of tell anyone that didn't support that.
That game was cool because it had all sorts of like vehicles and like planes I believe that you could jump in and fly and like, granted it was really janky. It was hard to fly that shit. But
that wasn't Warzone though. What was that
then?
It wasn't Warzone. It was by the same company who made Standout. It was that Raptor Labs. It was 32 on 32.
Yeah.
It was.
I can't remember what the name of it. Somebody's got to know what that is. I'm
completely blanking now on that one, but yeah, that was a good game.
That was.
It was like Battlefront.
It was way ahead of its time
because it had jets. You could fly jets. You could fly helicopters. You had ATVs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about all that. The reason why I was bringing it up though is because I just remember the kind of wow factor that number had on people back then, that 64, and here we are talking about this feature rich game that you can play on standalone if you want, or you can play on PC, and it's a beautiful game no matter where you play it, and it supports up to 60 players per match, and people just talk about that like it's an afterthought now.
Wardust.
There we go. Thank you, Wardust. People just talk about that like it's an afterthought now, but it's not an afterthought. The fact that you can get 60 players in a match and keep it like smooth and it's not janky and the map is big enough to support that kind of a group of players.
Well, and it's not simple. There's gameplay there. There's actual perks. There's actual fucking maps. There's like progression. There's game to this. And I'm sorry, but like games like Standout, and that it was early on and that's the way it was. But it was all about getting you in there and you shot each other. There was no progression. There was none of this. Everything that this game has didn't exist, wasn't even close to existing. And it's everything that I've been screaming for about VR games is like, just give me some actual give me a reason to be in the world. We're always talking about being in the world is better than looking through the window. Well, if I look in the window and there's nothing going on in there, I don't want to be in that fucking world. That's boring. You know what I mean? And that's why this game is so good. It's actually a good game. And you know what I mean? It's 60 players and the gameplay is fun and the progression is good. So, and the price is good.
Yeah, the price is like the most amazing thing, right? Was it like $20 to get into this? Crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And you mentioned all those other games. All those other games that didn't do it as good as this. And all those were PC only. Now you have a whole audience now because they put this thing on standalone too.
Think they'll ever bring this to PlayStation?
Possible. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I hope. I mean, if I was PlayStation right now and I wanted to support my platform, I would absolutely be hammering down the door of these guys. That's the problem, though. Yeah. PlayStation PlayStation doesn't give a shit. Like they're like. They would like we're Sony. We don't ask for games. You come to us for games. Well, that's not going to fly anymore.
That's not true. That's not true though. I mean, the reason why we've gotten 2 Resident Evil games in the past year is because Sony paid for these games to come over, and they've paid for Switchback to come over. Synapse, they paid for that to come over. So it's not like that it's out of the question that they would pay someone like this to bring this game over.
Yeah, I'm not even saying pay though. I'm just saying reach out to Caveman and tell them that we're going to support this platform and we need this game. We need this game to pour. I'm not saying they got to go out. I'm not saying they have to go out and pay for fund all these games, which they should to some. But I'm just saying like the majority of they should have reps out there that are like, we need this game. Like this is a game that we need to bring players into our game to breathe life into this headset that people don't want to buy right now because they're so worried about its future. Like that's the biggest thing for Sony right now. Forget about us. Think about people looking in from the outside in that haven't bought one yet. Like how comfortable would you feel be buying one now if you don't know the future of the headset? They need to dispel that, and by going out and just and again, don't pay, but just go out and say, look, we really need you. We'll give you the tools you need to get this game over here. What can we do to make that happen? And I don't know if they do that enough.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. They should have their finger on the pulse of third party a little bit better. But it's not non-existent. Like Legendary Tales, that's another great example. Like the Steam players that just got the full launch of Legendary Tales, and it's so amazing, and everyone that's loving it, that they all have Sony to thank for that, because it was Sony money that allowed them to finish the development on that game. So they're certainly out there funding it, and I don't think that recruiting would be enough. I think that they do need to invest to get these sorts of games in. But I hope that they're aware of a game like this, right? Because these are the type of games that make the investment worth it, right? That you're going to bring players in with a game like this. So hopefully these talks are already taking
It'd be a huge
place.
get for them. Like that would be a win that you should just tell you would be promoting everywhere. You know, come out and Sony Sony come out. We are not going anywhere. We're going to fight. This is going to be an awesome platform. We just went and got contractors coming to the PlayStation. Like, and that could be happening. Maybe it's happening and we just don't know it, and it's going to be an announcement soon. But that's those are the types of things that Sony should be doing. If they feel they want to breathe life into this thing and just make sure that everybody feels good about it to where they want to stay with it and they're not selling it. Like that's the thing I'd worry about now. Forget about people not buying it. How about people selling them and like not, or just putting them in their closet? Like those are the things that Sony should be thinking about. And this would getting a game like this would go a long way to that. You know, bringing a big multiplayer game that's basically Warzone in VR to that platform would be huge. And it would be good for all of us too, because then we have multiple platforms we can play it on. We'd have more people. At 60 on 60, you have to make sure there's players.
Yeah, I mean, think about how much better like Crossfire Sierra Squad was on PlayStation with those haptics and everything. Now imagine putting those features into a game like this, like that's already amazing. You know, yeah, I could see it. I would love for it to happen.
Yeah, and just think about it. This game would look awesome with that headset, the haptics of the headset. You know, bringing the vest in eventually with, you know, we know B haptic support's coming to PlayStation, so that would be super cool, man. They definitely should do it.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So I think we kind of have a no-brainer here when it comes to PCVR Game of the Month. As good as Forewarned was, I think Contractors Showdown is a legitimate Game of the Year nominee. And that's why we do Game of the Month, right? Is to find out what the Game of the Year nominees are. And I think we absolutely have one. Although it's not unanimous. I did put a poll up in the chat to see what the chat thinks about it. I expected it to be a complete wash for Contractors Showdown, and it's about 70% of people agree. But we've got roughly 20% for Forewarned, and then another 10% that are split between Big Shots and Soul Covenant. So,
well, I thought it was going to be all Black Trail, 30% Black Trail, 70%. But no, I mean, I think there's good games up there, depending on what you like. Like I said, I didn't like Soul Covenant at all. But Mash has a really good point. Like if you're into anime and you're into that type of stuff, you probably really like it. And that's why it's priced so where it's at, because anime shit is just priced higher than everything else for whatever reason. It's weird.
Yeah, I thought Soul Covenant was all right, man. It's frustrating when you see a game like that just a few small things could take it from here to here. Right? Like a lot of potential there. And it's the same thing with Last Safe Place in its jank ass state that it's in. You see potential there and easy shit, right? To make it way better. And for whatever reason, it just fails. But
Philosix wants to know if they have custom private servers like they do on Contractors or Pop One, so you don't have to play with kids. My guess is they won't for a while. I don't know what the original Contractors. We've talked about this before. Especially allowing private servers, there's certain people, once you allow that, they'll never go into public lobbies again. And so you better make sure your population is very populated, because there's a risk of really fucking the balance up to where you're now waiting. Instead of, like, when we went in, we were instantly in a queue when we were in the game, right? Now we sit for a minute and a half, 5 minutes, whatever, because people don't want to play with kids and they want to be in private servers. And I would say to the devs, never do it. That's my personal opinion. I think all that extra shit just cannibalizes. The most important thing is your lobbies need to be full, and it needs to be instant. As soon as you start to fuck with all that bullshit, maybe do it on a weekend, custom servers weekend or week, or to give people a taste of it. But I would avoid it personally.
Yeah, and kids really aren't a problem in there. At least they weren't when we were in there.
Yeah, you hear them
was
for
a
what,
little bit-
2 seconds, right? Unless you die, which was kind of weird, right? Like the fact that there is some shit talking between players. Mash actually started talking shit with another guy because he got killed, and he's like, well, Mash, what did you say, Mash? You were talking shit to him. It was pretty funny.
I'm like, hey, just look, your buddies just abandoned you. You might as well just tell us where they are. Tell us where they are so we can go kill them for you. I'm like, they betrayed you. Let us go kill them for you.
Yeah.
It is
That
a little
was
weird
kinda
that you
weird.
can I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
Like-
you're sitting here talking to this guy after you killed him, and he's
You
able
can
to
hear
kinda
him
call
call.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can call out your position to his teammates.
Right.
That was kind of weird.
That is one thing. And if you are out there, developers, that needs to change. If somebody's dead, it's one thing for them to see. They shouldn't be able to communicate in game with their teammates. Like, there's going to be people in Discord, like we were, that are going to do it. That's just the way it is. But if everybody can sit there and scream, hey, they're right here, over here, and you know what I mean? And you can zip around the map. Like, usually the way games work is if you can see everything dead, you can't communicate shit, because now it's kind of a cheap way to play the game, personally, I think. So
I think they should have the death comms. That's it.
Well, the death people should be able to communicate.
Yeah, no,
If
like
I'm
death
dead and
comms
they're
for
dead.
the other player. Yeah, like death comms, like in Call of Duty, you get death comms for like 20 seconds after you die, just so you can yell at somebody for killing you, and then it should go away.
Yes. Something. It was weird to be sitting there having a conversation with this guy for like 5 minutes, or however long it was.
That's the K in the chat with the $2 donation says, "Grats on getting Miles to join Impact." Yeah, so I guess Miles put the announcement out there today. We had actually announced it on Gamescast last week, and we've talked about it a couple times already. Super excited to have him coming aboard, and looking forward to moving ahead with him.
I guess Subtastica says that dead people can only see what their team sees. So I don't know how it all works. I guess if that's the case, then it just seemed like they were able to really help their teammates, but maybe it was just the way it seemed. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
When I was dead, I could scan the whole map. Like, I could move around the whole map.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I
able to
did,
do that
yeah.
too. So
Yeah, me too. So, all right. Anyways, a clear winner for PCVR Game of the Month, Contractors Showdown. Excellent, just great. Honestly, a game that I would have spent even more time in if it weren't for Madison kind of derailing my plan. We were supposed to get good last week, guys. What happened?
it didn't happen. That's next week. I was gonna say West though. We haven't really solidified, but because it's already Monday, I think we should, for the game we were talking about, Red Dead or GTA 5. I think we should do the GTA 5 graphic mod thing, and then it'll be my week. And guess what? I'll pick Red Dead, and then so we'll just do them back to back, because I want to get into Red Dead, but I really want to get into this GTA 5 visual thing, and I think that's the best thing that will allow us to do it, is to actually have to do it for the show. So
That would have to get me out of VR playing Soul Slinger in VR.
I heard that's really amazing. D said it's
so
amazing.
good. I love it, man. I played it every night for a little while.
I'm open to either one of those options or all three, but I do have concern with such feature-rich games as these Rockstar games, doing both in 1 week.
Well, no, it'd be
seems
2
like-
weeks. We'd be doing. Well, see, okay, it depends on GTA 5. We've got 4 days now. and that's why I would never pick Red Dead now. It's not enough time. Or we would
We
do
were
that.
supposed to do it. Yeah, we were supposed to do that last week. That's why we picked early, but then we had Game of the Month come up this week, and then Madison, so it kind of ate up all that time. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we should do this week. You're right. Either one of those games in 4 days is not going to be enough time. So yeah, we got a bit of a dilemma on our hands on what we're going to cover this week.
Yeah, I guess we'll
So I
discuss
guess-
it. Discuss it.
Yeah.
And let everybody know.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out after the show.
Actually,
figure out what we're gonna play.
why don't you guys do this, and not in the chat, live chat, in the comments? You tell us what you think you would want, either one of those two, and not that it's going to sway it, but it will at least it'll make the algorithm happy with some comments.
Yeah.
Right? So
Maybe we do one of those two, and then we pick something else to real time. That way we can put all of our gameplay time this week into the mod, and then for a second title we can just play something live on the air.
Yeah, true.
Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah, maybe that makes the most sense. Anyway, let's move along to PlayStation VR 2. Again, as we've noted previously, a bit of a weird month for VR in general, and PSVR 2 no exception to that. Of course, big shots came to PSVR 2. No need to retread that, as we just spoke about it, as we did Soul Covenant, which also came to PSVR 2 this past month, and it was where I played this game at. And from what it sounds like, probably the best way to play the game. So then we move on to Mixture, which was a game that released last year on MetaQuest headsets. I do think it's available on all major VR platforms now, including PlayStation VR 2. This is a third-person hack and slash platforming game that is heavily story-driven and prides itself on unique environments that it puts you in, and a unique story to boot. So where to start with Mixture, Eric? This was a game that I really wanted to love, and I did like it, but it really, I think it suffers from a couple of things, but mainly it takes a while for it to get good. Like this is a game that's really not all that great at the front. If you put an hour or two into it, it gets pretty good, but even then it's still just kind of pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a very cool kind of like take on it. I like the movement system. It's different. It's a good game. It tries to be Moss, and it falls short of being Moss. Because I think again the movement is unique in the way you have to like use drafts, and you have to use potions and things to move yourself around into battle. But where it tries to be like super unique and different is also a hindrance of it not feeling as cohesive and like easy to pick up and play as something like Moss. So I think it very much wants to be Moss, and then it just the cool mechanics that make it unique or kind of get in the way of that, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like that it's trying to be more of an action game, and I think that that's really where the fun is here. When you get later in the game, where you have a lot of different enemy types and different ways that you have to go about battling them, I think that part of the game is fun. But even that doesn't feel 100% good, because here you are with this kind of button masher hack and slash game, but there's no jump function in the game at all. Like you can't jump. You're tethered to the ground, except for when you walk over those light portals that kind of throw you in the air. I also found it kind of weird because like one of the big selling points of the game was these big, vast environments that are highly detailed and beautiful. But from that aspect, I feel like it's kind of held back because it was a game that was developed for MetaQuest 2 primarily. And even on PlayStation VR, which is what we're discussing right now, um, while they did add in some like dynamic lighting and shadows and stuff, this still very much looks like a Quest game to me. Um, Roots, have you played Mixture?
I think I played it on the Quest version when it
Right.
first released. I did not play it on PlayStation. Looper is saying that he thought this came out, which I'm seeing it came out in April on Steam as well. April 12th was the release. So I don't know.
Okay, my
Uh,
bad.
it wouldn't have won Game of the Month, but yeah. So it's in the conversation for it lost Game of the Month for PC. Sorry, Mixture. No,
Yeah, sorry,
I
Mixture.
I agree. I feel like it's one of those games that like I feel I really wanted to love, and there's a lot to love like there, but there's just some things that didn't really mash 100%. And I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like eh, they want to put your hands and have you interact and do stuff as well as the thing. Sometimes I just want a platformer like Max Mustard where I don't necessarily. I mean, I guess it's got some aspects of that as well, but it doesn't necessarily need to bring me as the reader or the person in there to help along. And sometimes I feel like that kind of hinders. There's a formula that works really well for flat gaming for platformers, so well that every game does it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if they've kind of figured out exactly how to change it and make it their own, because it's, to me, it seems like in most games when they try to add you in the game as well as the guy, it makes it more clunky and weird versus actually more fun. And that was, at least from what I remember, that was more of how I felt about this game when I played it originally. So
Yeah, it's hard for me to put my finger on it. Like, I think the concept here is a good concept because what they're basically doing is letting you, through the use of your throwing the potions, basically unlock what is a puzzle. Like, making your way through the level is kind of a puzzle, right? Because you have all these gaps and crevices that you have to get across, and how you use your potions kind of is what allows you to make it across these things and make your way to the other end of the level. But um, at the same time, unlike a game like Moss, uh, you're never really quite lost enough with these puzzles to where you have to think about it. It's always pretty obvious what you have to do to get across. So then at that point, what was a pretty good idea for a game and level design now becomes something that you're just doing for the sake of doing it, right? Like, just to say that there's an extra level. So when I have a game like this, where it has some pretty fun combat, has some decent story, even some pretty cool progression with the way you unlock abilities and things through collecting and stuff like that. While there's some really good concepts here, I really can't get past the fact that most of the time that I was playing this, I was pretty bored. And it's hard for me to kind of sit here and quantify what they could have done to really fulfill the potential of the concept. But at the end of the day, I didn't have a whole lot of fun playing it, and sometimes
that's what it's all
sometimes
about.
that's all yeah, sometimes that's all you really there is to say. Like, I wanted to like it. I tried extensively on Quest, and then when it came to PSVR 2, I even gave it another shot. But yeah, while I enjoyed short periods of it kind of later on, um, I didn't. I found it more boring than anything, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
Man Bear Pig Game Cat with the $4.99 US donation says, I love Contractors as much as I love this show. A lot. And thanks, guys, for still continuing to do these shows with your busy schedules and personal life. Rest in peace, my dad. Thank you, Man Bear Pig Game Cat, for the kind words and the donations. I'm just glad that we could get back to doing it, and we found a way that we can we can kind of get back to normal around here. So, thank you.
Yeah.
And just for the record, for Looper and everyone else, the nominee lists for each platform, they're not going to have every release that came out on every platform. Well, I did overlook Mixture on the PC thing. I just genuinely didn't notice it on the Steam list. But even if I had, it might not have been on the list because PC had a stronger month than PlayStation did, to be quite frank. And PlayStation needs this to be nominated on its list this month, where PC so much didn't. And probably could say the same thing for Quest, but we'll get there.
Absolutely. Paradise Decay says, you know who else has cracks and crevices?
My mom!
And she likes them to be filled. Now I added
does.
that last part.
You did. But she does.
Looper says, I like the Metroidvania aspect of it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, the levels themselves were pretty big and winding. I don't know, man. It's like I was expecting more. Maybe that was the problem, is that I really expected this to be super high quality, like a Moss type game, and it wasn't that. The story parts were pretty cool. The voice acting was good. But like, I don't know. I got bored with it quickly. I found myself kind of forcing my way through it a little bit more. And to be fair, I didn't play like super deep into it. I gave it a few hours, but like I don't know what the late stage of it's like. It might even be better than I'm giving it credit for, but
could be amazing. But you kind of need to pull me through from the beginning, not expect me to get to the end where it's amazing. You know, like that's the biggest problem with a lot of games these days is the devs are expecting that, hey, this guy's going to spend the whole time and play the full game, and by the time he gets to the end he's going to be blown away. But the attention spans are what they are in 2024, and like at least especially for us, like a game has to really grip us or we're going to move on to something else, because we have so many things we have to get into that like that's the only way I'm going to really get, like with Madison VR for you, Wes, like if a game really grips you, you're going to finish it. Like it just is what it is. But that happens so very few times for us that if it doesn't grip us at all right off the bat, we're just like, I got to move on to something else. So
it's the most difficult thing about these Game of the Month shows and continuing to do them is because over time, as time goes on and our backlogs grow and grow and grow, we're at the point now as a channel that we're only really playing games that we want to play, with the exception of Game of the Month, right? When Game of the Month, we try to play a little bit more so that we have some ideas, because people love Game of the Month. It's our most popular episode. We want to keep doing it. Plus, I mean, it's a good way for us to cover what's hitting VR and kind of have a nice grip on what's going on. But as time goes on and we've got more and more stuff available for us to play, great stuff that we want to play, then maybe it doesn't bode so well for games like Big Shots or Mixture or something that's just okay, that we're only getting in there so that we can give it its fair time when we talk about it. And this is very obvious this week for PSVR 2 as we move along to the next game, which we did not play, Umurangi Generation VR. This is a photography game. I think this came out on Quest as well. It might even be on PC. Don't correct me, Looper. I don't know if it did or not, and I really don't care. Because the fact of the matter is, this is a very niche game. It's a photography game. And to be quite honest, none of us played it because this just isn't the type of stuff that we want to play. And I think a lot of people felt like that way about it in the VR space. Saw a lot of non-coverage of this, although a few people did pick it up, a few people played it, and for what it's worth, the people that played it liked it. I haven't heard much negative about this, but I think it's because most of us who didn't cover
play
it chose not to play it, right?
It's a niche
Um,
thing. It's such a niche thing. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
do photography in real life, let alone in a VR game, right? And so it's kind of like we even joked about this off the air, like calligraphy VR. Like I have no interest to play that, but there's people that love calligraphy, and so they'll love to go into it. I just think this is something that if you love photography, you'd probably really think it was cool. But
And again, another case here where a concept might even be cool, um, if the production wasn't holding it back. Like if this were a photography game that were like super photorealistic and putting you in environments that just drop your jaw, and now you're in here exploring like uh, an environment like you see in Kayak VR or Subside, that type of stuff, and now you're taking snapshots with your camera and it's saving it into your screenshots in a folder on your computer or your console like that. I mean, I probably still wouldn't call it game of the month, but I probably would have gotten in and tried something like that. But here you're going into this super cartoony thing, and you're supposed to be taking photogenic images, but it looks like something that a kid could do in Microsoft Paint. Like, I'm not interested in that. And again, there is an audience for stuff like this. But Eric, I don't think any of us are that audience.
No, definitely not. And it may be like a lot of people may get into this and like man, that's super cool. And I'm all for like play what you want to play. But for me, there's limited time in this world for these types of things, and this is not a game that I can get into in any way. And it's just again we're trying to cover as many things as we can, and just like the ones that I have no interest in whatsoever, I just can't do.
Um, Loopers points out that we just got a super realistic photography game, and that's true.
I know,
And that
right?
one did grip me. And I'm sitting here trying to give myself a break because our friend Paradise Decay just bought us a copy of Madison on Steam. Shout out PD for that. But I'm trying to talk myself out of going straight back into it and playing it again because we've got other stuff we need to play. But no, that's a good point, Looper.
I haven't finished it yet. Where do I go to finish it, Wes? Finish it on PlayStation, or do I go finish it at to play it on Steam?
That's a good question.
I think obviously that it's going to be better on PlayStation because the way they use the haptics during the jump scares. But to PD's credit and point, pretty much all of the shine that this game has gotten has been on PlayStation. And if we're going to talk about it further, if we may be doing Steam Players a service by going in and checking that version out and letting them know if it's as good or if it is less than.
I've already gotten back to the same point in the Steam version that I was in.
Really?
Yeah. So when
that's
earlier
cool.
today. So I just wanted to see.
So you've been in both Ruuts. What do you think of the visuals?
I think it looked really good. It was very sharp, very clear. But what Wes said was
right.
true.
Okay.
It's like in a sense, it felt because I've been in the PlayStation version, it felt weird when things were getting weird and my head wasn't vibrating and doing weird stuff. That was the biggest thing that felt odd. But I felt like it was like clearer. Like there, of course, I don't know how it would be in the Quest 3. I've got local dimming, and so I would say that my experience would be very similar as far as the darks and the colors and that type of stuff, the darks. But I did feel like it was better. I could see things better. It was clearer. Not that the PlayStation version was blurry. I just felt like there was things I was noticing that I didn't notice in the PlayStation version. So I definitely think it would be worth going in and checking out again. So Wes, you're screwed.
Cool. Yeah. So, well, here's the thing. Now that I know the solutions to the puzzles and everything, I could probably run through this whole thing in like 3 or 4 hours now. So maybe we do that. I'll tell you what will happen for sure is we're going to be covering this game for Game of the Month next month. So definitely by then I will have gotten into the Steam version, and we can have a detailed discussion then about the state of it. I know that's getting some good reviews on Steam. I checked it this morning, and that's like 50 reviews, mostly positive. So Obviously, I think it had some jank at launch, but they just patched it to fix most of the jank that it had. And I think while they were at it, they made it so that the inventory works a little bit better now. Like you can set the scroll speed of the inventory so
I
that
did
it
notice
moves
that.
faster.
Yeah.
And those puzzles where you had to put things in your inventory just so that you can take them back out and place them on the puzzle, you don't have to do that anymore. Now you can
Oh.
move things from one spot to the other. So
Some of the
seems like,
biggest gripes that we had right off the bat fixed within
Yep.
days. That's really good.
Anywho, Umurangi Generation. It's a photography game.
We talked more about Madison.
Well,
Yeah.
because
trying to talk about
the
this game.
similarities, the similarities. I did think that was cool of the Madison pictures. So
Agreed.
Moving on to the final nominee for PlayStation VR 2, Doctor Who: The Edge of Time just got a free upgrade. All people who own this game on PlayStation VR 1 now have a experience very similar to what PCVR gamers were having 4 years ago when this game came out. I didn't play it again. I feel like the experience that people are getting on PSVR 2 today, I got on my Oculus Rift CV1 4 years ago when this game actually was released. Not a terrible game, but again, like so many other games this month, just an average puzzle game, right?
yeah, it's very reliant on being a fan of the show, in my opinion. If you're a fan of the show, you'll probably really like it. Seems to be a very, very consistent theme, right? People that love Doctor Who love this. People that don't like Doctor Who or don't know anything about it think it's okay. I think it's just okay personally, but at least this is the thing. It's a free update, and they've actually upgraded to PlayStation VR 2. So like the devs should alone be given kudos for that, because a lot of people left their games to die on the PlayStation VR 1, and these ones didn't. So I think that's
absolutely. That's absolutely true. So many other great games wasting away on that PSVR 1 library that we're still waiting on upgrades for. So that they do at least deserve credit for that, and not charging people for the work that it took to port it over. So that's pretty cool.
Correct.
Eric, did you play Doctor Who: The Edge of Time?
This version, no. I played the original a long time ago,
Right.
but I did not get a chance to get in and check this out. But the original was okay.
It was okay. Like I didn't make it super deep into it. I felt that the puzzles were kind of unintuitive, and I just didn't really enjoy it all that much. Like it looked good graphically, but I feel like if I recall correctly, that's really all there was good to say about it. Like it looked good. It was just again another case of a game that I just didn't find very fun to play.
Brandon VR wants to know if we're going to get a poll for this one. He really wants to vote.
Honestly, yes. And the reason why is, and we'll go ahead and wrap it here. That's it for PlayStation VR this month.
Oh God.
And I don't know what should get Game of the Month for PlayStation VR 2 this month. Like, there's really not a lot to pick from. I know where I'm leaning, but I do find it very interesting to find out what the crowd thinks here, because believe me, I'm not steadfast in my beliefs, and I can be swayed this month. So we'll just ask the people.
Brandon VR says he bets Madison VR wins. That's how much we talked about Madison. We confused people. It's not in the running till next month. But if it was in this running, it would absolutely win. It would smack the shit out of every game on this list, probably even Showdown. So,
yep, absolutely. We went ahead and spoiled our future episode.
yeah, pretty much. Spoiler alert: Madison's a good game.
But no, I'll be interested to see where people come down on this, and I'm going to not show my cards until we get some other people's opinion. And I guess this would be a good place while I'm typing this in. Where are you leaning at on this one, Eric?
Oh, man, I don't know. Like,
So many good choices.
yeah. Can I vote for Madison?
Yeah, you can. Random
right.
VR brought it up.
You could vote for Umurangi because it has cameras in it like Madison.
That's true.
That is true.
It did spur a Madison conversation. So
Yeah. What was the titles again? What's my list?
Big Shot, Soul Covenant, Mixture,
Oh,
Umurangi, and Doctor Who.
Oh my god.
All gems.
Can I abstain?
There's one missing on there.
You're going to vote present.
There was
Can I vote here?
I don't see Umurangi for the photo people.
You can only pick 4.
Oh, I gotcha.
YouTube won't let you do 4.
I don't
Ooh, it's
know what
changing.
to pick. I really don't.
It's pretty clear for me, but that's not saying much.
Big Shots, I guess. I don't even know.
I'll tell you
Ruuts, what do you think?
That's my choice for Big Shots because it's the only game on this list that I actually went into and I actually left with a feeling like I enjoyed my time in there. You know what I mean? Like, but Soul Covenant, it would be between that and Soul Covenant. Soul Covenant's not made for me. Like, I don't like anime. I don't like Melee. You know what I mean? I'm very impatient. So give me a skip button and lay out your game like you did. It's a worst case scenario. But I could see people loving that game. But for me, it would be Big Shots because I did actually enjoy it. And I could see myself if I spent enough time actually enjoying it more as I progressed, just because of, as you're getting better and stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you, Ruuts, but I'm flipped. Like for me, Soul Covenant is easily the best game on this list. It does have shortcomings. It should be better than it is, but it's pretty dang good. I mean, the story's good. The graphics and sound are great. The gameplay, while it does lack a little bit of weight, I thought was fun. The enemies were awesome. I thought it was a good game that could have been great if it had just done a couple things differently.
Staff and stuff asked if I like anime, and I don't. I hate it. So anyway, go ahead, Matt.
I would have went with you on that, Wes. The only thing that threw me off is the freaking price of $50. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't. That hurt me.
Yeah,
like, I know I hate deciding things like the quality of a game on the price, but it does.
Yeah,
it
I
does
don't
make
factor that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess if I. Yeah, I guess if I took that out of it and just like didn't like sour me on the game even more, I probably would go with it over Big Shots because I do think it has a lot of potential as a story. It's just the gameplay sucks so bad.
Yeah, I don't factor cost into it. Like, I'm just trying to judge the game itself as if they're all free, because for the most part they are for us.
But that's came into the equation though before, the cost. I'm guarantee at some point we've talked about that and said it wasn't worth that they're charging way too much or what you're getting for what you're paying for. I'm sure that's came up before.
I don't know if I voted on it in that context. We do mention it and we often talk about it. I mean, if that were the case, Soul Covenant would be on the bottom of the list of all time. I think like $50. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Well, and to be fair, it's anime, and it's what I said earlier. Anime costs more for whatever reason. That genre, everything is more, and so maybe in that context, it's not that overpriced. I don't know.
So we're in a situation here where the crowd says Doctor Who. I say Soul Covenant. Eric really doesn't have a firm spot on it.
I'm wishy-washy.
Ruuts says Big Shots. I don't know who to pick, and I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter.
Because the point of this is to nominate games for Game of the Year. Are any of these games going to be PlayStation VR 2 Game of the Year?
No.
No,
I mean,
they're
no, I
not.
mean, it's just not. And I mean, yeah, I don't think it matters personally, but
I think Big Shots or Soul Covenant would be like the two that have the most opportunity of that, or the most relevancy in that conversation. But neither one of them are going to um, seriously challenge for it. So I really don't think it matters. Um, but we have to have some kind of criteria here that we people demand a winner, and part of me just says that we should give it to the vote because none of us really even have a firm opinion on
yeah,
it. To
sure,
be
why not?
honest,
Doctor Who, you know what I mean? Like, if people, this is the thing, that's another game that's not made for me as a fan. You know, although Westworld I didn't really know anything about, and the game, you know, it made me like the show even more. So I don't know.
yeah, okay. Well, I think we're going to let the people take this one because none of us really have any strong feelings otherwise, and the people demand a winner. So uh, we'll give um, we'll give it another, I guess, 60 seconds here for people to vote, and uh, whoever the vote lands, that's going to be the game of the month for PlayStation VR 2.
We did it!
Mixture got a vote. Okay, well, yeah,
Got a
Mixture.
vote?
Did.
Wow, nice. It did.
Well, maybe it's Dawn. Dawn, did you vote that? That's what I want to know.
I'm telling you, Soul Covenant got
Mhm.
killed because of the price. That's a lot of people think put price into the equation because visually and gameplay wise, you know, in the story, it's probably by far the best game on the list.
Yeah, that was my thinking too. Like it's the high production. It's the production of a $50 game. I mean, it really does.
It does.
It's just it's the way that they structured it. It's like the whole game's a tutorial.
That's how I felt. I was like, oh, I got through the tutorial, and then it went to the next chapter thing, and I said, oh, this is the whole fucking game? No, I'm done. That was when I noped out. I was like, this is just, I didn't, I don't know, man. The structure, I think, for me is what did it. Because everything else was pretty cool. You know, I'm not into anime, but the graphics were really good. The anime characters were good.
Yeah.
It just, so I don't know.
Well, the people have spoken. Doctor Who: The Edge of Time. Congratulations. You are the
Woo!
PSVR 2 game of the month by popular opinion.
Headbite says no genotype on PSVR 2. Did that come out this month?
That was last month.
Okay.
That was in March, and
Is that
I think it
won. I think it won. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
it
gonna say
won.
that would be hands down the best game. That game's amazing.
No, that was game of the month for March on PlayStation was Genotype. It was just one of those months, one of those in between months. You know, we had Genotype in March. We're gonna have Madison next month, but April was kind of rough.
Hey, maybe we're missing something on Doctor Who, guys. What do you think? No?
Maybe, I mean, it has been years, and I only
True.
did play it the one time, and I walked away from it. Like
The graphics
it could
might-
have gotten updated or anything, but you know.
and like
since
you
then.
said, the later levels. I don't know.
Sanador the Game Tiger says free upgrade for the win. Yeah, there you go. Right? You want to say cost doesn't factor
Matter.
in? Well, the free game won. So how about that?
And cost always factors in, especially from the consumer standpoint, right? Like even if a game's cool, if it feels overpriced, a lot of people won't. They'll at least wait for sale. You know. So.
Staff and Stuff has a good point. Stride Fates is coming out in a week too on PlayStation, and that's a good game. It was a good game on Quest, and it's getting upgraded graphics on PlayStation. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into that one.
My thing is I think because I had to wait for so long, I just find myself not caring, you know, and which is weird, you know, because we were waiting for the story thing forever. I feel like I've moved on.
Right. So, AKA, you you just want to go play WoW and you don't want to play
Well, the
Stride.
Spry said that earlier. He's like, he made some kind of comment about it. I will tell you what, that is amazing. The only thing that would make WoW better is keyboard mouse support, and hopefully somebody that is able to do it implements it, because I know the modders have put so much time and effort into the thing, and at some point they got to move on to the next project, right? So but it is open source, so I'm calling for all you WoW lovers out there. We all know that keyboard mouse support is crucial. It has to exist, if anything, so I can get my shoulder in chance, because I can't do that currently in VR. So let's do it. Let's get it done.
Looper says, don't sleep on Stride Fates, and I have to concur. That's a good game. And SpryGuy says, I want to play WoW right now.
Yeah, me too, Spry. As a matter of fact, after the show, I'm going to go back.
You should
into
play
the
Soul
WoW.
Slinger after the show.
You know, I actually need to pick that up at some point and play it, because everybody that I respect's opinion, D, Jasmine, yours, everybody's told me that it's good, or said that it's good. So I need to check it out. And I love Hades. And by the way, Hades 2 did release today.
Yes, I saw that.
That's true.
I have not looked at
That's
it at
sick.
all.
Did
but
you try it yet?
I have not. I'm going to probably pick it up this weekend. D was thinking about picking it up. I think it's $30, and
Is it
I'm
$30?
hoping
Holy shit.
somebody, Luke Ross or somebody, can bring that into VR. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
The original
well,
Hades
we-
is $8.
Well, that's something with those isometric games like that. Even Reshade would be sufficient for that. You don't need full
True.
VR for that type of game.
Absolutely.
Um,
And it would look
so, yeah,
really
maybe
good.
we-
The 3D depth and that top-down
Right.
view. Hades is amazing.
Absolutely.
The story alone is worth playing through, and just the way they tell it, it's just such a well done. It's what I would hope every indie VR game would be, because it was an indie game that came out that everybody was like, dude, this is AAA, and it just wasn't AAA, but it was AAA level. And
I tell you what, that Soul Slinger again, it's not top down. It's first person shooter, but it just feels like it. Like that whole like gameplay loop of Hades, it feels exactly like that.
oh god, now I gotta play it.
Moving on to Meta Quest. Meta Quest had a lot of games come out this month. A lot of games even that we are not on our list here. So again, no need to remind me of the games that aren't on here. That I feel like we have a pretty good representation of the best games that came out this month. But again, a lot of mid-tier stuff, in my opinion. But there were some good stuff too. So let's take a look. Of course, Soul Covenant, we've spoken about plenty already, as we have Big Shots. Again, both of those games out on every major VR platform this month. So let's move to one that was not on any other platforms, and that was Skyclimb from VR Monkey. This is a first-person VR platformer. Eric, on first glance, I look at something like this and I don't know, right? Like, because I played Toss and I didn't think Toss was all that great. I thought it was fine, but not for me. But you get in Skyclimb, and while the core mechanic is similar, right? You're grabbing yourself, you're throwing yourself through these levels. This one plays quite a bit differently. You have a lot more control over where you're going when you're in the air, and there's a lot more that can kind of happen with the environment, with the enemies, and not to mention you can play this with friends. So Skyclimb actually kind of surprised me. I had quite a bit of fun in this one.
I feel the exact same way, because like I'm like with you, like these kind of games do not normally pique my interest in any way whatsoever. Like I wasn't even a big fan of Toss. Like I know Toss is kind of a cool mechanic and it can be fun, just that I didn't really like hit me. Like I was like, I don't really want to do this again. Like Stilt was more along the lines of what I wanted to do, because it felt like a cool mechanic, but it felt more like a platformer. And then that's kind of what I got out of Skyclimb. I felt like it's a race, but it's kind of a platformer. It has boss battles. It brings you, I don't know, it just it feels more like, where Toss, it felt like figure out a way to get from point A to point B only. This felt more, I guess, a little bit more cohesive. It has a ton of levels in it, and then yeah, I think it's got multiplayer. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And Roots, when you're talking about platformers, I think kind of one of the best things that you can have said about your game is that this game reminds me of a Nintendo game. This game legitimately reminds me of a Nintendo game, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the graphics are a little bit cartoony, but in a good way, right? Like you've been sucked into a Nintendo game. What I thought was kind of cool is it's easy, but it's not easy. Like when you throw yourself up and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna get myself to that block over there. And then you start to get close, and then you realize your hands are getting bigger, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And then your hands pop, and then you don't like there's timing. There's so much timing in this game. This game is all about timing, right? And then as far as when you throw yourself, grab which direction you're going, trying to get around things. Just there's blocks going up and down that you have to time and go underneath. And I actually found myself like initially thinking I'm going to get out of this game quicker than I would. And then continuing several levels past because I thought the gameplay was actually fun. I didn't play it against anybody, but I was actually surprised with this game a lot more than I would have thought it would be. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool, and the people in chat who have played it agree. And I think it is because unlike a game like Toss, there are some very core platforming mechanics that are present in this game, right? Like you were mentioned, timing based spots. I think the cool thing though about playing a platforming game like this in VR is you have course selection that comes into play. On a 2D platformer, you got point A, point B. Go get there. In a 3D platformer, are we going to go over? Are we going to go around? Are we going to go under? And each one of those paths is going to give you a different kind of challenge, whether it be the boss or the enemy over on this side, or whether there's like uncontrollable like trampoline style platforms over there that are going to throw you off course. These are the type of decisions that you're making in real time, because at the end of the day, it is kind of a race. Like you are racing the clock here, especially if you're doing like the multiplayer stuff. Super smooth. Like it is cartoony, of course. Yes, it is cartoony, but the game runs smoothly. There's a good soundtrack, and it's just fun to play, right? So this is one of those games that easy to recommend for people, like anybody. And that's another thing with this as well, Eric. Not uncomfortable to play. Like you'd think a game like this that's throwing you around in all directions would put your stomach in your throat, but it really don't.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more games like this that just do it well enough to where it mitigates that risk of motion sickness. I mean, like there's just a lot of games with different movement styles. Stride being one of them we just talked about. Stride Fates. I mean, it's not an easy movement style, and it's worked well in VR. We did what was the grappling game that we did a few weeks ago? Swarm. That's another one that you just they do it well, and Skyclimb has that same type of feel. Like you look at it and you go, wow, this is a game that could make people sick, and it just doesn't have that feeling in any way whatsoever. I think it's done really well.
I wonder if it's because you're focusing on all these things to where to grab and avoid. Like you're not looking down. You're not, you know what I mean? Like even though you are propelled forward, there's got to be something to like where you're viewing and that you're focused on different stuff that would help mitigate some of that weirdness.
You know what it might be, Roots? It might be as simple as, in the early days of VR, we had games that were really trying to push photorealism, and we had hardware that wasn't all that strong. It could simply be down to like a frame rate thing, man, and that more games are hitting 90 these days, whereas what we were relying a lot on reprojection and things back in the earlier days.
So when we can get to 120 or 144 for the standard, right, that'll make it even better. Yeah, I think that's that's the only time that I ever feel weird in VR is when the frame rate dips low enough, or it's not even low. It's the inconsistency. It's the
Right.
fluctuation of fast, slow, fast, slow. It's too much. It can make you feel weird. So
You know what makes me feel weird? Fucking quick turning and teleporting. Playing that game earlier today,
Oh
like
man.
I didn't get sick, but it was starting to fucking bother me, like make my head hurt a little bit.
Can you imagine if it had
Just
forced
doing it.
vignetting on it too?
oh god.
God.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think some people like click turning, but I just don't. I don't like it, man. I guess this is the way I look at it. If when I turned in real life, I turned in degree chunks, then it would be fine. But I don't. Like I just like real life, I locomotion turn, and so I that's what feels comfortable.
Maybe soldiers like it because they do those, right
Yeah.
face.
They love snap turn. You know what? I bet whoever it was that said that in chat must be a soldier inside, like at least in their heart, right? So.
Veterans. Uh, anyway, Skyclimb's solid. It's only $15. I really this title did not get the attention it deserves this month. So if you're watching this and you like platforming, this is a really affordable game and it's really fun to play. And
And
I
unique.
hope you give
If
it a
you
shot.
want unique, there's no game that I've ever played that's like this ever, like even flat.
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, check it out. Skyclimb. It's on Quest, coming to PlayStation VR any day. It should be out, but we haven't really heard much on that lately. So yeah. Anyways, moving along. C Smash VRS came to MetaQuest this month. This is an esport type game. This is one of those games that put you in a corridor. You're kind of playing like a tennis like game where you're trying to get the ball past the opponent to score. Based on a classic Sega Dreamcast game that I was not familiar with. The only reason I know that is because it was in the marketing for this game. Eric, this is an interesting one to me. Like, this is a game that just hasn't landed with people, man. I mean, it's gotten good press every time it comes to a new platform. You see it everywhere. It comes from a good studio in Wolfen Wood. But with that said, this is a multiplayer game, a VR multiplayer game that's launching on one platform at a time, and then it still to this day doesn't support cross-platform play. And on top of that, I mean, visually, it's kind of bland looking, right? Like it doesn't. It's got 4 colors in it. Like, I don't know. What do you think's holding this one back? Why aren't more people talking about C Smash?
I I think that one of the biggest things is they try and hit on the nostalgia of the VR arcade or the arcade cabinet. That was popular, but it wasn't a super popular cabinet. It wasn't like a ton of people knew it. Most people probably didn't know or don't know that it was an arcade game. And when you try and do that, it has to be like if you made Pac-Man in VR, it would hit, right? For most people, no matter what. Because everybody knows it, or another iconic game. But when you take something like C Smash and you put a lot of the title on nostalgia, because the gameplay itself it's fairly boring. I mean, it's competitive, which is cool, but it's pretty basic. And like you said, it looks basic. So I mean,
Pong.
again,
This is just 3D Pong.
yeah, but not as but not as much. I don't know. You can like Pong was cool, like because it was the first game that ever came out. Like you wouldn't play Pong today. Like if you go into Pong today, like there's nobody taking an emulator and going, okay, I'm gonna go emulate Pong. Like nobody cares, right? I want to maybe go emulate Pac-Man because it was a fun thing. Everybody knows Pong because it was probably the first ever game, video game kind of created. But is Pong fun? No, not particularly. And it's tough to reimagine that in VR. I think they've done a good job. I think it's. I just don't know if the game is particularly fun enough to keep people involved, and it just looks so vanilla with everything it does. There's nothing exciting about the way the game looks.
It landed with Mad Vegan. He just won the first ever PSVR C Smash tournament, and also likes the aesthetic. He likes the clean
There you go.
aesthetic.
A couple
So
of people said that they actually, somebody was said they just got out of it. They were, I guess it was that Mad Vegan, the same person. Yeah, just got out of playing it while he was and beat one of Miles's scores. I think it was Looper says, you know who else likes a C smash?
My mom!
Yeah, she does.
So-
yeah, no, I think it's everything. It's the basicness of it. Like, as fun as it is, like, how's that going to draw people in 2024? This looks like a game that was made in 2016, and it could be the most amazing fun game, but you're fighting an uphill battle just to get them in the game to begin with, right? Because it is, the gameplay is basic as well as the visuals, and I don't know. I guess people love it. Some people that play it love it. So
well, yeah, the people that play it love it, and I think that the not having the crossplay is holding it back a little bit because for a new multiplayer in VR, multiplayer game in VR, like having people in there to play with is always huge. I really just expected this to take off a little earlier. Like people really were upset when fuck, I just lost the title of the game. What was the game? The corridor game from first gen VR that everyone loved.
Spark.
Spark, right?
Mm.
People were really sad when Spark went away, and this is similar enough that I thought that this might scratch that itch for people. But apparently, the Spark players that went in there and played this said, "Hey, you know what? This ain't Spark."
Well, that's the thing.
So,
It's like, even though to somebody outside of it that doesn't love Spark, at least from my side, I'm assuming you're not a big Spark loving person. You know what I mean? We would see the similarities and say, well, I could see how people would like this. And then they go in it and they're like, it's like people that don't love Audica. Like, I love Audica, and there's a lot of games that try to be like it, and I haven't found a game that's like it, and so I would love to find one that's like it. But if somebody came out with another rhythm game that said, hey, this is like Audica, and I went in and it didn't feel like Audica, I would be like, no, it's similar, but it's not the same. And so apparently something's got to be missing between Spark. I never was a big fan of Spark, but I know Drilla loves it, or loved it.
People were saying Racket Club's better than this.
I like Racket Club a lot better than this.
Yeah.
And it's got mixed reality, which is super cool.
What about Racket NX? Anybody play that anymore?
That
No.
was a good game in its time. Like, I thought that was fun, and when it came out, just not something I ever went back to, really.
Yeah, I think
Anyways.
this type of game, and like you said, Racket, or no, what was the one that you said that had mixed reality? That's the one. I'm a big person that's constantly saying mixed reality is a gimmick. For most part, it is, but in those type of things, that's where mixed reality would shine, because you really, like, I guarantee I'm going to, like Wes always says, hold back because I'm in VR, but I would not hold back if I can see everything in my room, but I can still see what I'm doing. I think this is where mixed reality shines in this type of a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Racket Club, 11 Table Tennis did the same thing. Brought in the mixed reality, and that makes perfect sense for a game like this.
Yep.
Moving along, Nope Challenge came out on Quest this month. This is an interesting one. This is kind of a phobia simulator of sorts. So this is a game that puts you in to scenarios much like a Richie's Plank would put you in. Only this is a bit more involved. Richie's Plank is essentially a fucking plank. This is actually a game. It does put you through levels, but the idea is like similar to Richie's Plank, the way that they're kind of playing on people's fear of heights. This game expands that not only to deal with heights, which it does deal with heights, but also to deal with clowns and to deal with spiders. And the way it's kind of structured is there's a spider level, there's a clown level, there's a heights level, and each of those separate phobias actually has 3 different experiences classified under it. So there's a light spider phobia experience, there's a medium, and then there's an intense one, and so on and so forth for clowns, for heights. I don't know. It's an interesting concept, and of course, the hook of the game called Nope Challenge. It's a game that challenges you to face your phobias, but if it ever gets to be too intense for you, um, you have this big button on your wrist that's called the Nope button, and you're able to press that button, and it whisks you away to this magical safe space
Mm.
somewhere, so you can kind of catch your breath and relax before you pick back up with the bravery. Um, so first of all, Eric, in terms of like the concept, this is a very unique concept and an interesting use of VR. And this is one of the cool things about VR is that you have these sorts of new experiences that you can kind of sample, but then again, you have the magic of like a note button that
Mm.
allows you to get out of it without throwing your headset.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about something else the other day too, and like we were like, this is a game that doesn't make any sense other than VR. Like you have to, this game you have to have the immersion of VR to make it make sense. Like you couldn't do this game flat. Like, and the reason this game works and does get you is because of virtual reality and the way that it makes you feel like you're really doing these things in there. Because it just wouldn't make any sense otherwise. So yeah, I mean, these types of games that kind of like bring you into a space and then push you to the edge of what you feel comfortable with is like it's one of the coolest things to do in virtual reality. Like it's a lot of reason why we got into this from the first place is I want to experience things that I normally probably wouldn't do, and feel like it's real. And those are the types of things that a game like this can do for you.
So, Nope Challenge joining us in chat. Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. We appreciate you very much. Who was it? Escape Portal. It says, what kills the game is the graphics. It's a great concept, but the game needed happy fun land graphics. And this is something that we often run into with quests, right? It's kind of a catch-22 where, like, you're a dev, right? And you want to make this awesome phobia simulator and challenge people to get in and face their fears. But at the same time, this is a business. You have to go where the money is. And right now in VR, Quest is where the money is. So it's a problem because they have, obviously, they'd like to come to other platforms, but you got to go to Quest first. And I can't disagree. Like, if you're facing your fears and you're trying to get into a scenario that truly makes you scared, it's hard to do it without being fully immersed. And for some people, the kind of limitations of a quest based game is that it's not photoreal. And that's enough to break the immersion for a lot of people. So I feel like this isn't a game for everyone, but I feel like it would be very effective for people who have these specific phobias. Like for me, I got in it. I didn't find it very scary. There were a couple of spots like in the last spider level and like the last clown level. The intense levels I thought were pretty fun. And even like I think it was the second heights level. I just liked it as a game, just because it was like this obstacle course thing with traps
Yeah.
and stuff. I thought that was pretty fun just as a game, but I didn't really get scared in it. But with that said, I didn't. I'm not.
Target
I don't
audience.
have it. I don't. Right. I don't have any of these phobias. So for me to get scared in these situations, I would have to be fully immersed in it, and that's kind of the limitations. At the same time that I say, well, I don't find it to be all that scary. I get in and I watch like Gamertag VR going through the spider level, and he's freaking out every time he has to pick up one of these spiders and put it in the box. Um, Obviously, he has arachnophobia, right? So I think this is a game that can be very effective if you suffer from these phobias, not only at kind of giving you a thrill, but helping you kind of get through it.
I kind of feel like that's what the game is about, right? It's about
Right.
helping people get over those phobias. And if you don't have the phobias, you're not going to understand. You're going to say, it's not that big a deal. The graphics, like you said, It doesn't matter. It's the fact that I'm picking up a spider, and I kill spiders for a living, by the way, Wes. I'm not scared of them. I run and fucking kill them, crush them. But if you are afraid,
Ruuts, you don't have any chemicals in the Nope challenge, bro.
no, oh shit. Now maybe it's a different story.
Oh no, you need chemicals. We should get that.
I need some
Great.
chemicals. I feel like, and this is a suggestion, if there's any DLC, just from what you were saying, because I didn't get a chance to get into this, and you were saying that the clown level was pretty freaky or whatever. Like, I was talking to Dee, because she hates, or she's really scared of Pennywise, right? Like, I feel like a game like this needs to go to that level. Like, and maybe this is a good DLC, especially for PC or PlayStation VR 2. Like, put them in a sewer with Pennywise. Like, and now granted, you might have a heart attack or two, but that would get some buzz around this game, and I think it would scare the fuck out of me. So I think the hardest level really needs to go like to extremes, like maybe even extreme level on top of the hard level that would scare even somebody that doesn't have the phobia, if that makes sense. And then maybe that makes it worse, and maybe that's what you're trying to avoid. But I think that would definitely get a buzz for just the average person, you know?
Yeah, well, this is what I've say about horror games in general, right? Like, while I find them fun, today's horror games, not many of them really go to that extreme to really show people horrific shit. I mean, this is a horror game, so by definition, it should be horrific, but nobody really goes for it, right? I think that's why Madison landed so well this last week, is because that game shows you fucking horrific stuff. But I think Ruuts has a point, Eric, that again, this is more for people who have these phobias, and there are a lot of people out there that are definitely afraid of spiders, that are definitely afraid of clowns and heights, that are probably going to get in this thing and absolutely freak out.
Yeah, definitely, and there already are. I mean, this is like we were at GDC, and they were demoing this game, and people that have never been in a VR headset before were freaking out. Like I witnessed it firsthand. People freak out when they get into these things, and while some of us are kind of maybe desensitized to some of this stuff because we've been in the virtual reality for so long, put new people in the game like this, and it can really, really get you and freak you out pretty good. And you know, it's interesting the different phobias that that people have. I mean, and there's a lot of them in this game. But you know what I like about
balloons. I thought the fear of balloons,
I know, the balloons
was funny
because I always wondered, a real thing? Is that
it
a
is?
It is, and I'll tell you how I know that it is. Because I thought it was funny too, right? That there was just these balloons, random balloons in the game. I'm like, what the hell? Why is there a balloon here? But I watched recently an episode of one of the comedy podcasts. I think it was Two Bears, One Cave, or maybe the. Anyway, it doesn't matter which one it was. But Bert Kreischer, comedian Bert Kreischer, popular stand-up comedian, has a phobia of balloons. And he's deathly afraid of it, to the point where, like, literally they brought in just some, like, regular balloons. And this guy, he was crying and he ran off the stage because he was so afraid of them.
Wow.
So that's a real thing, Eric. People are afraid of balloons for some reason.
I guess that's a thing. Okay. I love Bert. Okay. I'm down with that. I've never been afraid of a balloon before, but
They're
I can
pretty
see
scary.
it, I guess.
They're pretty scary, Eric.
You nope challenge. You should just do the whole game. Whole game of balloons next time. Balloons and like puppet animals.
PD asks was asking me if Madison levels of fear. Yes, that's what I say. The hardest level, and this is being real. This is a nope challenge. And so that hardest level should nope people out that don't even have the fucking phobia. You know what I mean? Some people should be noping out, be like, no, this is just too much. And I get it for the people that love this game, or I mean, that it's made for, that have the phobias, probably are on those hard levels. But yeah, I say DLC, make it horrifying.
Yeah. So for me, again, I don't have any of these phobias, and for what it's worth, those three phobias are what the levels are based on. But there are dozens of phobias that they have worked into this game. They did like research on like the most common phobias, And even in like the spider levels, they'll be working other phobias in it as well. For example, a good something that scares me a lot is being chased. Right, I get scared when something's chasing me. So while I'm not afraid of clowns per se, when I'm in these clown levels and that thing is chasing after me, it gets my pulse up. Same reason why Resident Evil 7 works so much on me is, having Jack chase after me always gets me because I don't know, I have a thing. Even like Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife, even those big cartoony caricature things that chase you in that game, that gets me every time. So there are other phobias that are being put at work here. With that said, even though I didn't get super scared when I was playing this game, there's some fun to be had here. Like a couple of the heights levels I found fun to play through. The second clown level I think was, or maybe it was the last clown level, I think was the best level in the game. So there's some fun to be had here. I wouldn't quite consider this to be a horror game, but more a face your fears type experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really do believe that if you have these phobias, this is actually going to be something that could probably help you overcome them, right? Level by level. So.
And again, you don't have to throw your headset across the room when you want to break. That's what the button's for, right?
Yeah, you can go to peace, nice peaceful place. Just 3 or 4 hits, you're good to go.
Right. Smack the crap out
yeah,
of
they're
it
making you
times.
smack it quick because you never know. Maybe it's like, okay, well, I'm overreacting, and then you're like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Get me out of here. So.
Anyway, give me this over Richie's Plank any day. I will say that.
Yeah, there's just way more here for that, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't even really talk about the like the Zen areas. I mean, you can go in and like they have a whole like sand garden, one of those like Japanese sand gardens that you can just like, calm yourself down and relax. And they have a koi pond where you can feed feed fish, and they just have like a little beach area. Yeah. Who doesn't want a yellow banana? Is there a fear of yellow bananas somewhere?
I'm sure somebody's got that phobia. I think
Or
we're kind
fear
of
of brown bananas.
We're kind of at the place in society and in the world and life where there's a phobia of everything because people are just that fucked up. Like you think of whatever it is, somebody's out there and they're like running from a banana. Not that I'm judging you.
You know who's not afraid of bananas?
She's running after the banana.
She's bananas.
Not at all.
Banana hammock.
Anyway, moving along. What else do we have on Quest this month? Of course. This month brought a popular traditional game into VR on Quest only, at least for right now. Arcade Paradise VR. This is a light management sim that allows you to multitask and be responsible. You get rewarded by doing that with with the profit from growing your very successful laundromat business, and then you get to squander all of it by buying cool arcade games over the course of what I think is about a 7 or 8 hour campaign. Eric, I think the word on this one is if you can make it through the first 45 minutes to an hour, this is really cool, right? Because you can build out a full-fledged arcade here with something like 40 different arcade cabinets, each of them with their own global leaderboard. And the games, not all of them, but many of them are fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the same thing that we just talked about with No Challenge. This game does not cut it for me flat in any way whatsoever. But in VR, there's enough here that like I want to continue to do it. The premise of the game of building your own arcade is fantastic. Where it can get a little bit weird is like when you have to do the time management things, and not everybody is a super big fan of time management. I hate time management games when there's just a click on the screen. If I'm clicking a mouse, or if I'm just like doing it as a button press, I definitely don't want to do time management games. They're mind numbing for me. But there was something about the laundry. It's not fantastic. It's not my favorite part of the game, but because you're trying to get from point A to point B of building your arcade, it gives you something to work towards. And then I kind of found myself kind of liking it. And then there's always so much to like look at and see and read that like I found myself like, just kind of like hanging out, doing the laundry, and then go like looking at different stuff, or, looking at what my next arcade cabinet I'm going to be. So I think there's it's not my favorite part of the game, but I think there's enough there to keep you busy in the beginning that you have something to build towards. That I actually started to enjoy it after a while.
Yeah, it is definitely kind of addictive, right? Like because at the end of the day, it's like it's a multitasking game, and it isn't as simple as just you go and put the laundry in the washing machine and then the dryer. Like real laundry, you have to sort it out. If you put the wrong thing in on the wrong setting, you can mess it up and get a lower rating. Lower rating means less money. Less money means less arcade cabinets. So. Um, you're doing the laundry at your whatever capacity that you've got. You're keeping the place clean. You're cleaning the toilet. They even made a game out of cleaning the toilet. Um, but again, that's all just kind of a means to an end, with the end being building out your arcade. Um, which again, I don't want to repeat myself, but a lot of variety here with what you can do in building their arcade. Uh, a, a lot of what this game is, though, is kind of playing through the story campaign. I don't think people talk enough about that. There is a method to it. It's not just a management sim, but this is actually fairly well produced story driven game.
Oh, was that directed at me? I'm sorry.
No, I don't think you played it, did you?
I have not
Oh,
played
you did
it,
not.
but-
I'm sorry. I was like,
No,
I don't want to dominate
I
this
have-
conversation. I
No,
was
it's
waiting
all
for
right.
Ruuts
Well,
to
this
do
is
one.
the thing. I haven't played it, but just looking at the trailer here, it actually looks pretty intriguing. The whole thing is, as long as the arcade games that you're building are fun to play, which looks like you said, some of them are really cool and some of them are okay. Even just the fact that you can do the basketball and the hitting those things, that's kind of cool in VR. So I think it's a cool thing. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to want to be doing laundry or cleaning toilets, but it's an end of it's what you have to do to get to that point. And from what you guys are saying, it sounds like it's actually they make it fun. So
They do, and there's different things. There's like they cleaning the toilet, doing the laundry, and to me, it's like I just want to get to it helps me get to where I would need to go. You have to if they gave you everything up front, it would be boring eventually. Right. But it does make you build towards it and kind of get stuff as you need it, and then you can get in and play the arcade cabinets. You know what I mean? Like playing some of these awesome arcade cabinets is some of the best fun, especially the ones that are like full blown VR cabinets. Like it's not just you playing in a on a regular cabinet. It's like a VR game inside the arcade, which is super cool.
PD says you can purchase upgrades like buying a helper to help you with washing and stuff. Like you're hiring a helper, and then also says, speaking to the devs, they added 5 special VR cabinets that aren't in the flat version. So like if you have the flat version and you think I don't need to try this because I already have that one, well, there's something right there that. And just being in it, like if you love this game flat, I don't know why you wouldn't want to play it and be in that game, right? Be in the world. So.
Yeah, and they do give you a lot of options too. Like they give you virtual assistants to empty the hoppers, because that's another thing too. You got to go empty like every machine. You have to empty the coin machines, each individual thing. You can get an assistant to help you do all that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like Todd.
Yes.
Exactly.
You can get a Todd in
needs
there.
A Todd.
Oh man.
You know what I really dug about this game was the vibe. Like it's set in like early mid 90s, and they do a really good job of kind of nailing that vibe, not just in like the scenery, right, with the arcade, but like the soundtrack to this thing is pretty cool. Like they've got some pretty legit musicians doing the songs for it, and it really nailed that vibe of kind of like the period when I was in high school. News alert, I'm that old, but I was in high school when this game was set. But I really thought they did a great job of nailing the vibe, and it sets the tone right from the get go when they go through the opening sequence and they play that song and have like the animations and stuff come up. They do a good job of setting the tone, and I think the vibe just in general kind of makes you want to hang out in this world.
I miss the 90s. I want to go back. Can we go back, Wes, please? Because 2024 it's got some cool stuff, but
I want the 80s.
That
Forget about the 90s.
that
Yes.
reminds me. That reminds me. Speaking of cool stuff, they sent me a box of stuff that I have yet to open.
oh really?
Yeah.
Maybe
you
you should
didn't
do it
open it
now.
yet? Oh, this is
I
like
didn't open it
individual. So there's so each individual each box is kind of individual. So you actually get to open up something and check something out to see what you got. Like you'll get something special in here that nobody else maybe got.
Ah,
Awesome.
sweet.
Let me go grab my box and we'll see what I got.
You know who loves it when you grab their box?
My mom.
Let me go grab my box too. Oh wait, there's no box here for Ruuts.
Wait, did you not get a box, Ruuts?
I doubt it. I never get any of that stuff. I think I made a mistake of saying I didn't care about any of it a long time ago, and then I watched everybody get shit, and it's like literally I feel like I'm Charlie Brown, and everybody just got a big, not just the mini candy bar, they just got the big baby Ruuts, and then I opened my bag and they gave me a rock. Mash, I got a rock.
Yeah. Paradise Decay says he still hasn't opened his secret bag.
Well, you better
What the
open your
hell?
secret
You don't.
bag.
You may have a special thing in there.
You may.
You gotta open it.
Yeah. Let me know if
Like,
it's
I
my
haven't even
special
opened the
thing.
box. Like I'm opening like literally the box it's shipped in right now.
Nice.
In this thing. Another thing too, I don't think we've talked about yet. As cool as these arcade machines are, this thing supports mixed reality.
Yeah.
So not only are these machines functional and you can play them in the game, but you can also play them in your living room or wherever you decide to put them at. Like, Ruuts, what other game lets you sit on the toilet and play arcade games if you want?
Zero. None of them let you, and it's a travesty. Like it's special, especially. I mean, it's not so much for me, but for Wes and Mash. I mean, if you don't know, if you're not a parent, that's your special place. That's your get away from everybody place. I don't care. I'm gonna go in there. I'm just gonna go sit in there and just chill on my phone and just sit on top of the toilet closed for 30 minutes. I'm busy. I can't go talk to your mom.
So I got a nice letter here from Ashley, the lead character of the game, on King Wash letterhead, telling me about all the cool stuff that's in this box that I'm about to open. And the box itself, it looks like something that, you know what it reminds me of, Eric? It reminds me of, what was that place we went to in Vegas? The area,
52.
Omega Mart. This looks like something you would find at Omega Mart.
Omega. Yeah, 100%. Omega Mart was so cool, by the way.
Trying to find a way to get it.
Yeah,
past
Paradise
my
Decay
stupid-
says toilet time equals Candy Crush. He knows. And I'm not even joking. Like at least that was my deal. I was like, I'm not doing anything in there. I'm just chilling. That's my get away from everybody, my quiet place.
All right, I'm gonna see here.
Good thing it was a master bedroom. Bathrooms had extra space in it.
This thing's not coming through. Let's see. Well, we got popcorn. Is that like real popcorn?
You can
Maybe
eat
real
it.
popcorn.
Eat it here on
Yeah. What flavor did you get?
Butterkiss, tasty, sweet.
Oh,
popcorn.
man.
Ooh, that
got
one's
sweet
different than the one I
popcorn.
got. I got a
Well-
sweet and salty one.
Mash is like the most. Dude, when I think of popcorn, I think of Mash. For
I know.
real.
I love
Like you are Mr. Popcorn.
I got a cassette tape.
Yeah, that's super cool, right?
Is it a mixtape with like love songs?
Let me ask you a question. Are
Kinda.
you like me? Can you actually play the? I can't play the cassette tape. I have no cassette player in my house.
Oh,
I
he's
don't
got
have
you.
I don't have a player in my room, but my son does.
I
My
was
son
gonna
has
say,
a cassette player.
somebody in his house has it. I'm like you. I don't even know where I would find one.
That's cool. That's the soundtrack for the game, and you can tell it's a 120-minute tape. You remember how you could tell how big the tape was by looking at the roll in the middle?
Do you think there's
Like,
anybody
yeah,
watching
right.
right now that's like, I don't even know what that is? Like, there's
know,
got to
right?
be one person that's like, what is that? Like, what is a cassette tape?
Right. Yeah, this is what I was about to say. This is what they had before CDs, but people are gonna be like, "What's a CD?"
Mm. What's
Yeah.
a Walkman?
Well, we kind of are already there already. Like Best Buy's pulling DVDs and physical hardware's disappearing, right? As far as physical discs, and it's we're entering that digital age. Even money is moving over to crypto, and that's going to be like a big change in the next few years that people aren't ready for. I am. I'm ready for it, but there's a lot of people that aren't ready for it, and it's going to take. They're going to be so shocked when it all goes down.
So we've got some what they call candy floss, what we in
Yeah.
America refer to as cotton candy. I don't know. I think this one might just be a pet rock for me.
Good old pure sugar is what cotton candy is.
Well, we've got a cotton candy machine here, so I guess I'm a bit of a cotton candy snob. Like, it has to be floofy and soft for me to eat
It's
it.
so cool for kids to make too. Like, that's a cool machine.
Shit, we got vinyl too. We've got vinyl too.
Yeah.
Ivor and the Horde, Horde Arcade Paradise EP. So I actually, Ivor and the Horde, they did an Arcade Paradise video that I went and watched the other day. And it wasn't half bad. It was like Rage Against the Machine style, like metal. And it was pretty good, honestly, even though it was an Arcade Paradise song, and that was kind of like tongue in cheek giggling at it, but like the groove was there. Like that was pretty legit, actually.
Yeah, that's cool. When was the last time a video game had a vinyl?
Yeah,
Like, that's
Right.
really cool, dude. Like, I think that the attention to detail of everything you've showed so far is like way better than most gift packages. Not, putting shade on other developers, but this is really cool.
How about some decals for your Quest 3?
Oh,
Huh?
nice.
You want to make your Quest 3 look like Arcade Paradise? Well, we can now. It's pretty awesome.
That is cool.
Shit, man, there's a lot more stuff in here. Poster. Yep, that's a poster.
Was it Mad Vegan says Walkman's putting out a new tape player as nostalgia market grows, and that doesn't surprise me. We saw the Polaroids make a comeback after a while, right? Because people, even though we're so far past that in cameras, people think it's cool to have an instant picture.
We're past physical media now. Like, everything's digital, so like all of this stuff is like collector's items now. Like if people are going to go out now today and buy music to listen to, they're going to buy on vinyl. That's like the most popular medium now for music. Is like we go back to where we began, right? Yeah,
We don't need it anymore. We have AI.
Anyway,
AI can reproduce everything.
This poster is pretty cool. It's got all the arcade cabinets listed on the back. Pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, actually, PD just literally said that they got all the arcade games in the game on the back of the poster. That's pretty cool.
You got a tech deck. You remember these? These little finger skateboards where you could try to do kickflips and shit with your hand.
Oh yeah, I never did good.
Yeah,
I never could do it.
I couldn't either, but these got popular for a minute back in the day.
Somebody said in the chat, "Thanks for making me feel old." It's Unearthly Whales. Thanks for making me feel super old again, just when I needed today. Oh man, we're here for you. Well, what else can we do for you? I will make you feel however you want us to make you feel old.
We have a key here for the game, and I already have the game. So anybody who wants this key, just leave a comment down below that says you'd like to enter for the Arcade Paradise giveaway. Make sure you're subscribed, and next Monday we'll give away this key.
That's a good idea. Somebody, I think Looper said that. He said there was a code in there.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know that, but yep, there was. And last but not least, and I think this is what you were talking about, Eric, was the Arcade Paradise VR mystery mini bag.
Yeah, this is the coolest part.
This is the best part right here. We got this.
Yeah, I did see this. I think it was maybe GT that opened one of these, and he got the one that I don't want. So I thought
yours
that
is gonna be
fine.
yours is way better than GT's. I just know it.
Me and Todd got
Well-
the same cabinet, so
Did you?
So
Yeah.
these are all like little arcade cabinets, figurines.
not
Ooh.
all
But
of them.
one
There's
of
different.
them is a plain white washing machine. And
There's a couch. There's a golden toilet.
There's a golden ticket in there, Wes. You get to be Willy Wonka. If you, hurry, I want to see.
I've got a golden toilet. I don't know what I've got. We're about to find out. The suspense is killing me.
This is yeah, dude.
So I got a cabinet.
Ooh, Beardo Benjo got the golden washing machine. Well, you know what? He deserves it. Of all people, Beardo deserves the gold.
I got Communist from Mars.
Communist Mars. That well, I'll tell you what. And if anybody is a communist, it's definitely Wes. Oh wait, no, communist hater. Sorry.
That didn't work at all. Oh, there
you go.
Kinda.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is cool. It's original. My only beef with this is there's no T-shirt in the bag. Like there needs to
Ooh.
always be a T-shirt.
Yeah.
But this is pretty awesome. Like you don't get vinyl in a box every day. Along with
all of that, all of
candy.
it is unique.
Yeah.
It's like none of it is like a generic thrown together thing. It's very well thought out and it's super cool.
Agreed. Thank you to Y Productions, Nosebleed Interactive for sending an awesome loot box. I very much appreciate it. That's cool stuff.
Yeah, heck yeah.
There's, I guess somebody said, I can't hear you, AJ. Temporary Game Cat for Life says, can you use the gold washing machine cheat on the VR version? There's a cheat, a gold washing machine cheat, Mash? Nobody told me.
I
What?
didn't know anything about that.
There's a cheat sheet? Where?
Well, it sounds like, I mean, this is I mean, I would imagine, I can't say for sure, but if it's in the flag game, it's a good chance it could be in the VR as well. I don't know why they wouldn't bring that over too, right? So,
Oh, well, I mean, I know there's a if in the main part of the opening screen, there is a like old, Easter egg thing you can do, like an you can go up, down, left, right, left, right. You know that thing. You can do that, and it allows you to, I think, unlock everything immediately, or it allows you not to have to do any washing at all, or something like that. The dev was on. I had the dev on my podcast, and he mentioned that. I don't. You can probably go back to my podcast and listen to what it was. It was like, I don't remember what the sequence was, but it was like that classic up, down, left, right, and then B button or something like that. So you can go back and check. But yeah, I think it opens up everything, I think, for you, or something like that, or it allows you not to have to do a lot of the other stuff.
right. For the person
That's
like
cool.
me that doesn't, I mean, that might be impatient. It's like, I just want to get to the good stuff. So cool.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. That's what I can't hear you, AJ. Temporary Game Cat for Life. God, that name is just. You got to get. How many days you got left? Because that thing needs to go. I think it's what he said. You get S rank for all the wash. So with the washing, if you don't like get it out of the washer fast enough and fold it or bring it over to the table, you get like different ranks and you make less money. This way, I guess you make the same rank every time, so you make max amount of money every time.
I gotcha. Foylozic says up, down, down is what he says for whatever.
I thought it was more
Up,
than that.
up.
Wasn't
Down, left, right, BA.
In, out,
Start.
left, right. Oh,
it out.
It's the Konami code, and you have to put select
Yeah.
before start. You have to put select before start if you're playing 2-player Contra.
oh yeah.
Anyway, thank you again to Wired Productions for sending me the awesome loot box. If you guys, again, if anybody wants to win a copy, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you leave a comment on the video, and we will give away that code next week.
That's it.
Anyways,
for Quest games, right?
So yeah, so I mean, the Arcade Paradise gave me the cool box of stuff, so obviously they're going to win Game of the
Yep,
Month,
that's
right?
right. Yeah, yeah. And any other games that were next, forget it. You're out.
close.
Brandon
right.
VR. Sorry, your hopes are dashed for Game of the Month for.
Well,
Quest.
I mean, to be honest, Arcade Paradise was the best one on. Oh, wait a minute. There's another one, Roots. But we kind of already talked about it, so it don't count.
It's out.
Contractors Showdown. We had a pretty long talk about this game earlier in the episode. PCVR game of the month. Eric is awesome as Arcade Paradise is, and it is a very, very good game. I can't in good conscience, even though the loot box is awesome, I can't in good conscience vote for it over Contractor Showdown, which in my opinion is a legitimate game of the year nominee contender.
Yeah, I mean, any other month they probably would have had a good chance. Literally, I mean, they probably could have done it, but man, what a month to be. I mean, Contractors is just going to take over everything. I mean, it's legitimately probably top 5 for game of the year on most platforms, on Quest and Steam.
Roy Schwartz wants to know if that code was Steam or Quest. It's Quest. This is a Quest only game for now. The developers have talked about maybe coming to other platforms later, but right now it's a Quest exclusive, so that was a Quest code. Speaking
of codes, Mickey Bear has dropped a couple of games in the chat. I wanted to tell him personally thank you. At chat, he got 7th Guest, which was
oh damn, that's
such
an
yeah. It's like when you see the bangers drop in chat and people get it. And then there was another game, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he's dropped a couple games. So thank you, Mickey, and you make the streams special, I think.
Thanks, Mickey. Thanks, SpryGuy. Why don't we thank SpryGuy? We're here. SpryGuy doing the timestamps for every episode, like a G. We appreciate you too.
Yeah, absolutely. SpryGuy and D for all the. As a matter of fact, she was messaging me before the show for the thumbnail, and I was like, I don't have that. Yeah. This is game of the month. West does the game of the month. So
yeah, she's quick about getting those up on the audio services, right?
Yeah, so if anybody enjoys the audio version of Virtual Strangers on Spotify, a big portion of that, because we're the biggest part of it. But second is D taking the time to put it on there.
D is definitely a solid second place on that.
Correct, absolutely.
Anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks Mickey. Thanks SpryGuy. Thanks D. Thanks everyone. You guys are what make this all so special. So thank you. Yep. Ruuts, any do you have a differing opinion here on what the Quest game of the month is?
No, I think it's hands down. And I'll shout out to Ryan Brandon because I always give him shit, but he's been saying that Showdowns is game of the year, and I'm like, I've been saying in the Discord, dude, it's not game of the year. It could be game of the year. And this game is that good. And who knows what comes out this year and what this game becomes by the time we talk about it for the 2024 show, right? So
that's true. This is not a set in stone thing, right? These games continue to evolve after they launch, and we of course take that into consideration. And in fact, maybe Soul Covenant has an update that changes the structure. We could revisit that later. Maybe Big Shots lets you get out of the mech. Maybe the last safe place lets you walk.
Well, that one game
Dope Challenge.
What was that one game that we just recently that you just said? I can't remember a little bit ago. That's already made changes to their game because of some of the things we recommended.
Madison. Yeah, it was Madison. Yeah,
yeah. So that's one of the reasons why we're never looking to nitpick a game. We're just making suggestions to make games better because we want you to succeed. So
100%. Yeah. So yeah, there's no need for a vote on this one. I think everyone's pretty much on the same page here. Contractor Showdown was the best thing that came out on Quest this month. Quest had some good stuff on it this month. Probably the best month out of any of the platforms. But Contractor Showdown, that was the best game that came out on any platform this month.
And Looper the Underground Gamecast says it was Happy Funland. It also changed or made changes, right? So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We did it, guys. We got it done.
That was a big one.
It was. You know who loves big ones?
Yes.
My mom.
Oh, yeah,
hates small ones.
She really hates it.
Mickey Barrios getting in one more for the road. Hello Neighbor, Search and Rescue for Steam. Grab it while you can, ladies and gents.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's it for the show. I want to thank everyone for showing up and hanging out with us. Again, we'll be back next Monday with a regular numbered episode to give you all of the week's VR news. And we'll be back on Saturday playing something. I don't know which one. We're going to play one of those mods, and then we're going to play something else live. Whatever it is, we'll assure you that it is going to be good.
Really cool.
Who knows? Maybe we should just go back into that Aliens Fire Team Elite.
I would definitely do that.
We should do that anyway, even if we don't talk about it for the show.
Soul
Slinger. That game's cool. And Soul Slinger. Well, we know what Mash's game of the mod is going to be when it comes to his turn again.
Yeah, right.
Soul Slinger. It's ready. He's ready for it now.
Anyway, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so that you can be notified when we go live this Saturday, this Monday, or maybe even one day in between. Who knows? I might feel froggy and jump on here and stream something at some point. Again, if you've already subscribed or you want to do something more, you can support us on Patreon. Oh, by the way, we got some new Patreons, guys. Brandon VR, new to the Patreon. Guy, also new to the Patreon.
Is it Guy or Guy? Guy, the
it might
developer?
be Guy. I don't know. Cool. It didn't have a last name. It just said Guy or Guy.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe it is Geeko Dan. That would be pretty cool. We had another one too. Hold on. Let me make sure I get the name right. I don't want to mess it up.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to move this up here because I don't like it down there. I want it in the middle. There we go.
There you go.
Much better. Making changes in real time.
Lynn Bernstein. So we got Brandon VR, we've got Guy or Guy, and we have Lynn Bernstein all joining the Patreon this week. You all are awesome. So thank you. Shout out to all those guys for joining the club and helping support our bad habits around here.
Paradise Decay wants to know about Eric if that Soul Slinger is Soul Slinger Envoy of Death with EVR.
It's so good. Yeah, I mean, it's a little. Yeah, you can definitely UEVR it. It's Dee said she felt a little like uneasy in it because it's a fast game. It's first person shooter, right? So you want to make sure I think that you have a decent stomach with it. And I would probably recommend not using the touch controllers. I would use the gamepad just because it's a fixed arm out in front of you with a weapon, and it's just because you're not still aiming down sight. I think you're better off with a controller than it is just using the touch controls because it's kind of the same thing at that point anyway. What's the difference? It's just basically touch controls split in half, but it just feels more regular, I guess, with the controller once. But I'm sure somebody will set it up to where you'll be able to aim down sight, and that would be the way I would normally play it. Once I can aim down sight with that thing, it'll be sick. But it runs great, and it looks really good inside the headset.
There you go. Question answered. Anyway, so yeah, Discord. This is where we're hanging out all day, every day, talking about VR, talking about life, chilling, hanging out as a group, as a family. 100% free. Invitation link in the description down below. We've got new people coming in almost every day, and yeah, it's the place to be. And we invite you to join us on Discord. So click the link down below. Come and say hi. But I guarantee you, before you get a chance to say hi, somebody's going to say hi to you. Anyways, that's our show. And with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Eric and Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you on Saturday.
Take it easy.
Goodbye.
See you later.